Welcome. Spoilers for all things Cobra Kai season 4. Wow, what a season of Cobra Kai. This ended stronger than any of the seasons. I don't know for you, Joe, but for me right off the bat, I loved every moment of the season. I think it took every element that was good about the other 3 seasons individually and combined them into one and did all of those things simultaneously together at the same time and gave us the best season of Cobra Kai yet. Everything that Terry did from beginning to end was so fucking amazing. The beginning half of the season that we had with the Miyagi's Do's and the Eagle Fangs working together in the alternate parallel things, that leading up to that mid-season climax, which was amazing with Daniel and Johnny fighting with the Rocky 3 with the Rocky 2 ending. And what I liked about that was because at that point, halfway through the season, I'm like, oh, we did this. Like, there's no way the rest of the season is going to live up. Like, I'm going to be going down for the rest of the season. And it wasn't, because then they get into the Kreese and Terry whole thing, and they throw... This is how, going into the tournament, I thought I knew what was going to happen. Then I didn't. Then I'm like, okay, once Miguel left because he got hurt, you're like, oh, he got hurt again, but then he didn't. He just left.
You thought fucking Danny was coming in with some hand clapping, didn't you?
I did. That was what.
On the back.
That was one of the 2 times my expectations got subverted in a good way. That I thought Danny was going to do that, and Johnny was going to do what Danny did with Sam later and brought Danielson in there to help. And the whole end thing with Kreese and Terry, I thought that was going the other way around. I thought that was how, at the end of it all, Terry was being taken down by the back of Scorpion. What the hell's his name? I can't.
No. Terry gets taken down by Miyagi-Do's next year's newest student who goes, yeah. No. That girl knows that she got that trophy was bought.
Right. She
everybody does.
She knows it was bought.
Did you? Did you see that? I saw
in
that
the rest. What I thought it was the Hulk Hogan in wrestling thing. When if he's gonna lose, if he's gonna take a job, they have to make it with like a foreign object or something to make him, because you can't have Sam lose on her own. You know, they have to make her lose in some warped way. I didn't think about Terry.
Well, they called it both out. Both the point not called when she stepped out. Kick is what forced her out, and then the no deduction for the elbow.
Yep, for the elbow. In the live chat, and I think I have the live chat off the screen today just to save anyone that happens to pop in here and click on it by accident to see any spoilers. But I can see the live chat. Killmonger, Sonic, and Craig are in the chat right now. He says, "Damn, you guys put in the work to get through those episodes." I'm on episode 2. We did. We stayed up all night. We wanted to be one of the first people out here to just talk about the season and get it over with, so we could enjoy our New Year's Eve naps and hippie activities. For myself anyways. Killmonger, is this the final season? No way. They've already filmed season 5. I think the story they want to tell is 6 seasons, and there's no reason to think that they won't get it. And then I think there's going to be spin-off series that's been announced, possibly a prequel kind of thing with Miyagi I've heard talked about, or other sorts of Cobra Kai stuff, but we'll get into all of that much later. But the other thing that surprised me, Joe, at the end was the whole thing with Terry and the fate of all of that. Did you see that part coming? Did you see that Terry was going to screw over Kreese the whole time?
No. Well, I didn't see the screw over coming, but you felt it coming. Mm-hmm. You like, they were setting it up. Terry was getting increasingly frustrated and pissed, and Kreese kept throwing that shit in his face, right? Like, so
I know your weakness.
You saw it coming, but you didn't know how it was coming. I didn't quite see that coming.
And Joe, I think it's
extra Stingray.
Stingray. I couldn't think of Stingray's name, but that's
Stingray.
And that's the other thing too about the season. Every character they brought in back Aisha in the early part of the season for a very good scene with Sam. They brought in Stingray back. They brought pretty much everybody. There's a Mike Barnes reference at the end with when he says, "Don't worry, I'm gonna bring in an old friend." I think that means Karate's Bad Boys coming in next season for a Daniel and Chozen versus Karate Kid's Bad Boy and Terry kind of fight. I like that they brought Terry in at the end and had him Darth Vader the Emperor there at the end, because it was more than that. It wasn't turning to the light side. It wasn't. I mean, it's more like, spoiler alert for Knights of the Old Republic, Malaching Revan, and then doing the other way around, like the evil taking over the evil.
Yep.
And I think it was good because they got to a very, like with Kreese, like Kreese can only do so much.
He finally melted just a little
He
bit.
showed
right?
mercy, and he had to be cast into the snake pit.
Yeah.
Would Terry have done that if Kreese allowed him to kick Johnny's ass? Like, if he had allowed to go all the way with that Johnny ass kicking, would he still have betrayed Kreese? I'm not sure. I think that was the moment when, you know.
That was already in the works.
You think was the screw over already? No, because I think he got drunk and beat up Stingray afterwards. He must have got the whole plan while he was getting shit faced, beating the crap out of Stingray. You want to be Cobra Kai? I'll show you how to fucking beat that. I didn't think they could give me a scene with Stingray where I felt stakes and emotions. Like when he showed up, I like the actor. He's funny. He's a funny ass guy. This season felt more to me like season 1's tone, in the way that it felt more realistic, in the sense that and this isn't good or bad, seasons 2 and 3 felt very like heightened
kung fu film house.
Yes, this felt much more like the first season, and maybe heightened from the movies, but it felt more locked down in real world stakes. And I felt like there was a couple of jabs at season 2 and 3's fights, like with she broke into your house, you didn't call the cops. I don't want, like just stupid.
Yeah, a lot of those things.
And like you fought in here, we had a big brawl in here. That doesn't make any sense. Like little moments like that. And I also want to say something I said to you in messages. From some of the great other Cobra Kai YouTube channels that are out there that are dedicated to, talking Cobra Kai. I've heard that there's a new fight choreographer this season on the show. And I think it actually really pays off. Like I'm not somebody that says, oh, we've talked about this before. This is a genre you hold very.
The fight choreography was really good.
It was really much better than the previous 3 seasons. Like they have that Netflix money. They upgraded their sets. They upgraded the way they shoot things, and it was slicker. It was crisper. It worked better. It made more sense. And I'm going to let you talk, Joe, because you actually know what the fuck you're talking about. But that was it to me.
Things. Now, I was going to get into actually something that's more up your alley and say how I felt like as I was watching every episode of this season, there were good jokes multiple times in every episode.
Yes.
This whole season, episode after episode, had me feeling good about watching each episode. I wasn't, like you said, like the 5 hours or some shit.
It was like 5.5 hours. Yeah, 5.5.
Yeah, it was quick. It didn't seem like a chore. The writing was really good. The whole production value was it felt increased since the last season, maybe the season before. But being said, all 4 seasons now have been really fucking good.
Yeah, no, and I get absolutely.
Like there's no slowing down right now with this show. It is still, in my opinion, reinforced with this season that it is probably the best half-hour sitcom, dramedy, whatever the fuck it is, on television right now.
To your point, Joe, even like, yeah, dramedy is a good word in this because it really does have exceptional heart to it in a lot of ways.
It's a teen dramedy.
And
really.
those were the times where I would be toned out if it had worse writing. And
that's the thing. It's kind of really good for a teen dramedy. Like it's really good. It's good writing.
It really is.
I don't know what to say. Like some of this stuff is like over the last couple of seasons. You say to yourself, "Really, you didn't call the cops? You broke into your house. They wrecked your dojo. They did all this shit." Like,
but it makes sense in the world, in context of the story. And it's also what I love that they did this season is they took characters that, and again, I'm not recency biasing, gonna glorify this season by trashing any of the previous seasons because I just rewatched them again twice. Like I really love them, but there's certain characters that were one-note characters or cartoony in previous seasons, for not in bad ways. I'm talking specifically about Tori and Amanda. And what they did, Amanda being Daniel's wife, what they did was a smart thing, was give give Amanda a backstory and give Tori more to do with her. So they combined both characters, and that was really fucking smart, and it worked. And again, in a lesser show, shit like that's not going to work. It's going to feel forced. Maybe it will to some people, but to me, it made so much sense. That conversation that Daniel had with her might be easily overlooked, but it really added to her character and made her more of, like, she's always been great in scenes and charismatic in scenes, but now her personality last season, like when she was freaking out, like, don't fuck with my daughter, like that kind of stuff makes more sense. And and it's like this season is one of those seasons of television for a television show that I don't know, again, the budgetary reasons, they had more budget, they had more time to put into this, but maybe they didn't with all precautions of filming and stuff, but they really just made even the other 3 seasons of the show better with this. And what I was saying earlier, like they took what those scenes where Daniel and Johnny in the bar, in the restaurant, in the first 2 seasons, in the first and the third season, whenever those 2 were, and they made it a whole half a season here. They gave you like 5 solid episodes of the 2 of them just together with, I can't even begin to, like, I wrote 20 pages of notes. We're not.
Dude, the training days were fucking awesome.
Dude,
tell me that wasn't, and where were you? No, be there.
No, just be there.
No, be there.
No, be there. Yeah, and the culmination of that, when Daniel fights the fight and Johnny just disappears, it's so perfect. It's so perfect that they went to a hockey, like, again, all that stuff could be cheesily done in the wrong show. And I just want to say hi to a couple people in the chat that are joining us right now. Mandrell, I gotta say hi to you. I was looking back at our Cobra Kai video that we did last year on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day like this, and Mandrell, you were in our live chat too as well, buddy. Great to see you in the live chat, and great to see Joseph that says Dutch is Miguel's dad. I don't think Dutch is Miguel's dad, but I did think for a second.
Oh, okay. No. So are you about to say this? Who's the kid's mom? Who's the young kid's mom? I forget his name. The newest Cobra Kai member.
Oh, you think it's going to be Julie? Is that what you were writing? You think it's going to be Julie Pierce? You think we're getting a Hillary? You think we're getting a Swank next season?
Why wouldn't it be? Like, that's the type of thing. Like I the way they played the Elizabeth Shue shit, right? It took 2 seasons to get her until like midway through season 3, we didn't have a shoe. Right?
No, we didn't have a shoe. We got a shoe. She was too busy feeding milk to Homelander.
So maybe they're gonna keep maybe teasing that, leaving that out, and then until they can finally wear Swank down to get involved.
I mean, they want Swank. It's not about whether
she's part of the universe. It's part of the, like, you might want to say no. Like, I eventually foresee fucking, the Smith kid there.
They made an announcement about that. We'll talk about that in a little bit when we get to some predictions at the end. But I could,
like, why not?
I could definitely, because that's Ralph Macchio said it. He goes, that's a spin-off. They're not in the Miyagi universe, so they might show up as different characters.
How are they not in the Miyagi universe?
Because that's a spin-off world. Let's not get bogged down on Ralph Macchio bullshit right now. But to your point, Joe, I agree that especially the way they do things, like last spoiler, because we pretty much spoiled everything else. We're going to talk about like I said, I took 20 pages of notes of recap. We're not going to go through a whole recap of the season, but we are going to go talk about like the final episode and a little bit about some immediate thoughts. But the last piece of spoiling stuff that we didn't really get into is the big thing at the end at Miyagi's grave that, again, I didn't see coming. I didn't see that shit coming. I did not see Chozen showing up.
I was psyched to see that he's coming back for more because I enjoyed him last season.
He was really good on last season, and it's amazing to see him back, and like the reveal of him just sitting there, it was just perfect. And I think that
was last season, right? That wasn't season 2.
No, that was last season, and I think it sets up perfectly because, again, with this show is so aware in a good way of what fans want and see of the Karate Kid universe. They give us Johnny versus Terry in a fight. It's something that like we've always, or like the Karate Kid people that are, oh, who would win this fight? Terry against this guy, or Johnny against this person. What if Johnny fights this guy? Like, and they give us almost every combination of that we could possibly imagine. Last year, at the end of last year, we get that big drag out fight with Kreese and Daniel and Johnny. This year we get him against Terry one-on-one, and Terry kicks that the way Johnny gets shit-faced after. He's like, those kicks, that old man and those fucking kicks.
No, and what we also get to see with Terry too is his just brutality when he and like just how he's the biggest asshole of the bunches.
The biggest asshole, except he's going to bring in, and we're going to get next season, that conversation that every single person has had. The biggest left Karate Kid question really now that we've had Daniel and Johnny fight, and they're establishing that they're even, is who would win in a fight, Chozen versus Mike Barnes. That one comes up a lot, and they're setting it up for next season in this trailer. I'm going to make a stupid video about it, but if it's not already being made right now. But by having Chozen come back and being the reveal on the Miyagi-Do side, and having Terry say, I'm going to call an old friend who is referring to Mike Barnes for help, who I bet he's thinking when Terry's thinking about this, he's like, I don't have to worry about have Kreese. I have this other karate master to take me to the next level and do all this stuff, and I owe him that anyway, because if we go to Karate Kid 3, he owes him money through a contract and all that sort of stuff. Oh, holy shit! The Walking David. Thank you, Walking David, for that super chat donation, buddy. I'm gonna take a sip of Coca-Cola. This last thing in the world I need is caffeine, but toast to you, my friend.
Coffee. There you go.
I'm not gonna say what else is in that Coca. Holy shit, we got K Rich in the live chat. Pritchard, has been a long time, my friend. Well, damn, guess I need to go. I thought it was gonna be in January later. Happy New Year. Yeah, get the hell out of here, quick.
Yeah, I had season 4 dropped.
Yeah,
dropped, watched, and spoiled.
Done. Yeah, and that's been our show. Thank you, everybody. But really, it's an amazing season. And as I mentioned before, if you're watching this later, please leave your comments in the comment section. I just want to let people know, anyone that happens to be tuning in, this will be full spoilers. We've already done it, but you might click on this at some point in time. So full spoilers for season 4 of Cobra Kai. Oh, there I am. I'm trying to figure out where my screens are here. Okay, so let me get into some thoughts that I have. But if you want to share some of your thoughts and you're listening live, you can do it at 781-990-8509. For anyone that's already watched the season, watched a couple of episodes, and likes to get themselves spoiled and wants to hear some information about what happens, we're all for doing that right now too. So whatever you want to know, let us know, and you can call in, leave a voicemail, wish us a happy new year, any of that stuff too. It's going to be a lot of fun shows we're going to talk about this season, so if you came here for Cobra Kai stuff, make sure you subscribe, but stick around for some of our other discussions. Got another Netflix series dropping at the end of this month, too, that we're going to be discussing here as well. Okay, Joe, so let's get it. I don't even know where to start. I feel like we talked about every one of the beat points, but like I said, I did take some notes. Now, I said Cobra Kai wins. Fight choreography is noticeably better. I kind of want to go back to that a little bit. So yeah, it made a lot more sense. I'm not saying it was horrible in the other seasons, but in both of the huge street fight scenes that we saw, it was a little silly at times, and a little bit like people popping in, like Hawk in that fight was in like 7 different places at the same time. In the school fight, there was, and again, this is for me, someone that I don't know dick. You're someone that actually watches this stuff often. And I just felt like everything was very crisp, and they paid attention to it. And especially in the tournament was a big, like, I was afraid for the tournament, especially as it started, because I felt like we got so many amazing montages.
It felt a lot tighter, and it felt a lot more like traditional karate, I guess, at times, especially during the tournament. However, I'll say this, like, these kids are awfully acrobatic. The only one that we actually get to see, like, doing flips and shit and aerial maneuvers before they actually, like, need them is, like, a couple of the girls.
Yeah, as one of the cheerleader one, Piper, I think.
Yeah, and like, And then otherwise, like some of these kids are suddenly doing like moves during these fights that are well beyond anything we've seen them train for, and
Oh yeah, and switching
how
styles.
many years it might take for them to like learn some of this shit to begin with and fight at that level. But you suspend that because it's fucking fun.
You do,
And it was good action, worthy of, you know, the choreography was definitely worthy of quite a few movies I've seen. Better than a lot of choreography in a lot of movies.
And I no discredit to it. They were watching it. I like some of the with the Robbie and Hawk fight, which ended up being a surprising, amazing fight between two stunt people doing that fight. Like they did an amazing job with that fight, and it was very, very much at the end when they took their shirts off. At first I was like, oh, and then I realized they're doing a blood sports thing because they were watching Bloodsport earlier in the movie, and I'm like, oh, this is fucking awesome.
And just like and you know, like as good as the show is, you know how it doesn't take itself seriously.
Yeah.
Because in that moment, when Hawk takes his shirt off, right, and we see the back tattoo again for the helmet, you hear the Hawk scream, like he flexes his shoulders, and they play the little sound bit, like, you know, it's not taking itself seriously at that point. You know what I mean? Like,
Joe, that's an excellent point. Is that what it is? Because I don't know what it is exactly, and I can't put my finger on it because I don't want to be. How do I say this without sounding like a complete douche? I'm not someone that always falls for member berries. Shit like this doesn't always work on me. It's not like, oh, you wave the nostalgic little glasses on me, it's gonna work. They make 17,000 references in this show that I'm not gonna mention everyone. Johnny has like one towards the end that I'm blanking on, but it was just so incredible. Like I forget what he said, but like some of his references are so deep cuts and they're so awesome. But like, not every show or movie can pull this off. And the problem with this is when you see this, people think it's that easy, and it's not.
Like even with the Twitter thing, like if you could like pause it when Johnny does his little Twitter fucking rant, right? And then he's like, "Why is everybody here?" He's like he's using the social media. If you could hash brown rematch, like typed out,
like written hash brown. And then all the songs that they used in the montages, I would say that this series, it's not going to pass it, but would definitely be on the power rankings for montages with Better Call Saul. Like it earned its montages in this. I feel like almost better than 80s movies. This movie, I keep referring to a movie. This season had several next level, top level montages set.
Yeah, there was a few montage episodes for
sure. And the only problem I had at the beginning of the tournament is for a second I thought that we were just gonna montage the tournament to the semifinals, but they didn't really do that. They just kind of montaged the skills competition, which became kind of useless just as a way to add a different thing. If I have one minor criticism, and it was part of the show though, that the overcomplicate the rules in the All Valley. Like if I was Daniel, I would have said fuck it too, because Hawk won. You know, and I know Tori won too, but like they should have fought Hawk versus Tori at the end there for a fight.
Yep.
You know, for the ultimate champion, that should have been a battle too at the end.
Let's go into the future. Is this really what we want to see? Boys beating up girls? Why don't you play the other side of that? How many of these girls are gonna whoop some kids'
Oh yeah,
ass?
Tori would have been the runner up in that situation, and I wouldn't have minded instead of the kata.
No. Okay, here's the thing: Tori being the runner up in that situation is not necessarily true because she would have had complete different competition.
It's true. I mean, every what if situation sets it off on a different parallel.
Right, but no, they should absolutely not be. That tournament should not be gender specific like that.
And I don't even care about that as much as I care about like the skills competition thing, I think, was just like an afterthought. I would have liked to do, if you were going to do the two divisions, have the third one, have it be something like the two divisions compete and then the division winners win, and then the best points, all of that. I thought the skills competition ended up being a big sort of whatever.
Well, and that's in many.
Right.
In
no, and they added it.
Right?
They added it for more legitimacy reasons, probably. Right.
Yeah, and as well as that, there's like this kid that just started training with them. Like he's in.
Yeah. Kenny.
Like,
dude,
there's aged classes, weight classes, all this kind of shit. Like,
and dude, the thing with Kenny,
belts classes or whatever they want to break it down by, like that's just wrong.
We haven't talked about Kenny yet, and it's awesome to think about that because, again, that's another thing that another show. And there was moments where I thought it was going to be annoying, especially at the beginning where I'm like, who's this character? I don't know him. But that actor pulled it off and they made it good. Robbie wasn't my favorite character, but he had an amazing season. Like his whole relationship with that kid and the way they connected it to the dude he met and was friends with in prison and the way that all came together into him to be, that was his trigger out of being under Silver's point of view and to kind of connect what Daniel was saying before too. I think that was done very well and surprisingly well. And again, I don't want to repeat myself too much, but on another show that's going to be done horse shit. It's going to seem like a tacked on story to add a secondary character, but instead it gave an interesting parallel with Daniel's son being a fucking being a douchebag, and I wrote all over my notes through all of it being a douchebag, and what it did was what it did was set up Cobra Kai. I'll let you go in a second, Joe. What it did was really set up Cobra Kai to be at the beginning of the season not necessarily seem like the bad guy until Terry took over. Kreese is still in those margins, and yeah. So
all I was gonna say is, tell me, every time they showed Daniel's kid fucking running somewhere, looked like he was trying to run through fucking mud, like he's never ran a fucking step in his life. Like he hasn't even run to the fucking toilet before. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it looked hard. It was painful to watch. That's why they haven't had this kid do any fucking karate yet, because they were like, dude, you can't even fucking run.
Is that the same kid?
I don't know if it's the same kid or not. Maybe it is. He's like growth spurt. They kind of.
No, they made a joke. I didn't know. I didn't know if that, and I didn't take the time to look. I didn't know if that joke was. And great to see Rachel in the live chat, finally catching us live. I didn't know if that was
because they changed the actor, or because he actually had a growth spurt.
Exactly. Either the joke would have worked. The joke would have worked.
Because it's not supposed to be like that much further. Like, I don't know. It's the next year, but I guess.
And god damn it, like this show has some amazing combinations. Him and Johnny together was hilarious too. It strangely worked because it connected to the last scene, and that's one of those things that this show does exceptionally well. It just puts weird characters in weird combinations and gives you all the scenes that you want to see. And it does it in a and again, someone can disagree with me, it does it in a more of an organic way and less fan servicey. At least it comes off that way. And that's the thing. I'm not sure if it's my rose-colored glasses watching it, or if that's the truth. If that's the truth about what's going on in the show. Well, is it really this good at what this does in a way that other shows in movies can't pull off the member berries, or because it understands the material so much? Would this work with a different property? Is it because of the emotional impact that the Karate Kid movie had that I have on me growing up, that I have such? But no, it's actually, to your point, Joe, for a situational dramedy high school slash nostalgic bait thing, it's high level. You know, is it?
Yes.
Is it on the same? Are we talking about, you know? I don't know. I'm trying to pick.
It does drama. It does the teen drama thing better than a lot of teen dramas do.
Yeah, absolutely. It does anything in the CW
thing, and the not take itself serious thing, the sitcom thing, the tongue in cheek thing, better than a lot of dedicated sitcoms do. Johnny is the big surprise. Like, his character and the way they've written him stays to character. Like, as soon as they were like, oh, we need to think outside the box, I turned to Katie and I said, I'm surprised they didn't have him say, oh, we need to find ourselves a tranny. And then in the very next fucking scene, he shows up with a wig and a dress, and he's like, have you seen Phil the Issues Guy's favorite movie about a soccer team?
Yep.
And a
Ladybug. That was what it was. Joe, thank you. That's what it was. It was ladybugs. They freaking they make the fucking ladybugs fucking reference. That was incredible.
Yeah, and like Johnny went there right after I was like, yeah, of course they did.
He didn't make
such his character. That is his character. And
right? He didn't make a Tootsie reference. He didn't make a Bosom Buddies reference. No. He specifically made a Ladybugs reference.
A movie this chick dragged me to.
Yeah.
And he's like, it wasn't that bad either.
There was a guy in it. They got no respect. And that's where the writing is really top notch in the sense of like compared to modern day situational comedies. So to your point, Joe, absolutely. I think the teen drama stuff on the show, the way they pull it off, is better than anything you're going to see on the fucking CW, which isn't a compliment, but it's 10 times better than fucking Riverdale. Sorry, Riverdale fans.
God.
Or some shit like that. You know, like one of those kind of shows, or the new Gossip Girl, or something, whatever. Like, it does that kind of stuff better and tighter. It from a nostalgic bait.
That show is so bad, man. It killed Luke Perry.
Rest in peace, Luke Perry.
Soon?
He was not soon enough. He was
not soon enough, right? No shit.
He was and like from a comedic standpoint, it's funnier than any sitcom out right now in the way that it's written. But for the nostalgic stuff, that we're in a marketplace right now where since I don't even know what the first thing to do it is, and what the organic first thing in the early 2000s that started this trend of all these remakes. Not saying when remakes were sometimes Cape Fear was a remake. Scarf, people want to say that stuff. Cape Fear was Scarf, but it was few and far between. I don't know what you want to say with the starting point of this remake rehash era that we're in, but if we have a champion of it that rises above it, for me, it's two things. It's the 21 Jump Street movies and Cobra Kai. I don't know what is about both of those things, and I think Cobra Kai is way better, but I'm just mean there's other things that pull it off too. I think, and that's the other one that pops in my head that actually works, and with Cobra Kai, and I think it's they both have sense of humors about themselves, but with Cobra Kai, there's something else too, because it has those other two elements. It pulls off drama and emotions. I'm not ashamed to say, Joe, I cried several times in the season. First, we have our first person that's actually.
I had a couple tears well up.
And we have our first person that actually binge watched it with us here. So last couple people that popped in, we couldn't talk about it with, so they spoiled. First person that has a comment or question, please. If you disagree with something that happened this season or our take, we love to hear it. James Aubrey says, I hated what they did with Miguel.
It kind of makes sense. I mean, you're talking about a kid that went through a huge trauma. Like,
would you have rather him just be hurt?
Like, still?
No. Like he got injured and couldn't compete, rather than he made the decision to.
Like that? Absolutely, I like it. I liked it. I liked that he was like, fuck that shit. I thought he was going to do it early. I didn't think he was even going to show up for the tournament.
I don't think, and I think that's the thing. He didn't quit necessarily. Johnny's right. I don't know if Johnny remembers what he said, but it's all about in this moment. And I know Miguel would want to see his father at some point in time, but that moment where Johnny says to "I love you, Robbie," when he's talking to him, I think that changed everything inside Miguel, and he realized that he needs his own father, and no matter how much Johnny would be there for him, he incorrectly assumes that Johnny would never care about him in that way. I think Johnny does care about him in that way. He was just shit-faced and got his ass kicked and wasn't thinking straight in that moment. I think he wasn't thinking that Miguel was Robbie. I think he just drunkenly misspoke. I don't think he was looking, being like, you're Robbie, I wish you were Robbie. It was just a drunk sort, and I think Miguel took that way personal, as he should. And it's something that I relate to a lot in this season, as you could possibly imagine. There was a lot of stuff about kids that's fathers run off or didn't know their fathers. I'm on board with that too. And I was more like Miguel. I went out and looked. I wasn't a Johnny. I went out and I didn't like what I found. And I think Miguel's going to probably see a similar situation in this next season. And Johnny's going to save him, and they're going to work together on something together. But I can also understand what James is saying in the sense of not having the conclusion of the Miguel and Hawk fight in that situation, and having all that lead up to the way they had that fight going. I think they were trying to tell you that Miguel would have won the fight eventually, and he was a little better than Hawk, so he would have been able to beat Robbie too by that definition. So it was more like coming to the realization that Daniel has in Karate Kid 3, whereas I don't have to fight. I know I'm going to win here. I'm the best here. I can do it. I didn't break my back. I just pulled a muscle. I'm fine. Yeah. I can do what I did before. And Johnny doesn't love me. Fuck this. Who am I doing this for? And he walked out. So but I can't appreciate some people wanting to see the conclusion and wanting to see Robbie and Miguel fight again, and have that conclusion instead of the Hawk versus Miguel fight. There's more stakes built up between them, and it seemed like it was going, but I kind of like how they threw me for a curveball, because that's what I expected. I expected the Final Four to be what it was, and it wasn't what I expected. And once Hawk won there, I kind of was like, okay, I guess I still thought in that moment, did you think Tori was going to win? Were you at any point, did you think Tori was going to beat her? I believed it at one point when Kreese didn't let Terry do his thing and said, fight the fair fight. I was like, okay, Tori's gonna win. And
well, I had already decided.
Oh, you thought Terry paid up? Did they pay off?
Yeah, like as soon as when he was like, oh, that should have been a that kick landed. I was like, yeah, it did. That seems really fishy. This guy's been on point with the blocks, no points, and stuff like that. That it was really fishy that he blew that call.
And while Cobra Kai wins, fight choreography, so many classics. Daniel and Johnny's stuff, seasons 1 through 3 went to 11. They went to 11 with that stuff. This is something we were talking about a little bit through text back and forth. Daniel is such an ego case, and I do think Daniel.
Yes. Oh God.
And he relents to it at the end of the season. So
finally.
It's.
And the funny thing is everybody relents at the end of the season.
Yeah.
No?
Everyone has they definitely finish a chapter with this season.
Like everybody has like
character growth.
Like Terry, like Terry, he doesn't want to really even get involved. Now he's fucking all in. Kreese wanted all this control, and then he fucking gave it up at the end. Kinda. And it was taken from him. Like everybody, like Daniel finally is like,
yes,
everybody's right. I'm an egotistical asshole.
Samantha never faced a loss, and they give her a big loss here where she did everything right and still lost. And I like and I know people like to hate on the character Sam. I like what they did with Sam. Sam had a really good season for me too. For so much of it, I thought, oh, they were going to go with the Daniel and Miguel thing, that they were bonding, and the Johnny and her thing came out of nowhere and worked by the end and made more sense. That the end game of that was she got way more out of Johnny than Miguel got out of Daniel. And
no,
I think
the best way to win a fight
is to avoid a fight.
No, be there.
I don't know. I think,
and so Miguel wasn't there.
And Samantha
was like,
and Sam struck first.
And if you remember from the movies, right? What's Miyagi even think about the tournaments and fighting?
It's
for
bullshit.
Points?
He thinks
it's all bullshit.
It's all bullshit.
Right? There's so much more important shit in life.
Yeah, he doesn't.
That this tournament, it was all bullshit to Miyagi to begin with. He was only fanning Danny's ego.
And in the second movie, they got bamboozled by a Terry Silver bomb. James says, "I hope they don't break up, Sam and Miguel." I hope so too. I hope they don't go back and forth with that romance. They did kiss when he left, and he expects to be back. I don't think they're going to bounce back with another Robbie situation with her. I think they're going to stick with Sam and Miguel together for the foreseeable future when Miguel comes back into action. It's interesting to think where this is going to go from a standpoint of, now that we've had the All Valley tournament, there's not going to be another All Valley tournament on Cobra Kai because all of these, I guess some of the characters are still going to be under 18, but like our main characters, like Robbie's got to be 17 now, right? Tori's got to be 17. No, they're not like...
That was their junior prom.
Oh, was there junior? So there's gonna be one more season. They're gleeing this shit. There's gonna be one more season of an All Valley tournament.
Well, they're already introducing that new kid. I keep forgetting his name. The new kid,
Kenny. I think
he's not even in high school yet.
Oh yeah, he's a
middle
junior.
School.
Him and young LaRusso are junior high school.
They're junior high school kids. That's right.
Do you think and great to see the Iraqi monster in the live chat. Do you think that LaRusso's kid ever trains? Does he have to?
Yes, now he has to. He's going to have to learn how to defend himself because he doesn't want to be the bullied.
Will Robbie train him? Maybe.
Yeah, Robbie is so. Here's the thing, because if they get together and merge the studios finally again, right? Because there can't be a Miyagi-Do and there can't be a Eagle Fang.
So there can be a Miyagi Fang.
Them. There can be a Miyagi Fang. It's a new dojo, right? It's a new. So they. It's a
new day, Joe. A new day.
And they have Danny and Miguel as their counselors in training, senseis in training, so to speak. Like teaching the younger kids, the younger classes. Still honing.
Does Robbie come back to the light? Does Robbie come back to the light side? Does he become a Miyagi Fang?
Say who? What?
Does Robbie eventually become a Miyagi Fang?
No, I think it's time he finally start learning with his dad.
Oh yeah, you think he's gonna yeah, and I forgot about that. Honestly, I forgot about the scene that they had at the end of this. It just blanked out of my mind because we're talking about a lot that happened here in ascertaining 5.5 hours. That Robbie and Johnny ended up in a good point. He came to him emotionally to talk about what had happened.
They were hugging. They were. Yeah.
So yeah, this started on saying Danny is such an ass, and it makes sense that they have his son be an. Oh, well, okay. Another fucking amazing reference that they had in here that was subtle, but it was perfect to have the My Cousin Vinny thing. That they had the therapist go all Mona Lisa Vito, do basically a Mona Lisa Vito impression, and it totally Marissa Tomei
and sit them down as the problem instead of
just the way she did it. Does that make sense? It was very My Cousin Vinny. I don't know if it wasn't a full on reference to My Cousin Vinny.
He was the ones that created the fucking monster.
Yeah, exactly. They should do an international tournament so they can bring in Chozen students. Ooh, that might be an interesting situation. Either that or is Chozen going to teach all of them those dead points?
That's an expensive thing for like.
Oh, Daniel can afford it.
That's the Valley.
Daniel can sell one of the car dealership is doing better than ever. Oh my goodness. Okay, so Daniel and Miguel make a lot of sense. They're so similar together, and that's one of the strong points of the beginning half of the season is to your point, Daniel and Miguel together makes a lot of sense. They have a lot in common in the way that they're raised and what they know. And he has in common with Johnny too, but him and Daniel really make a lot of sense. And seeing Miguel with the headband on and all that, you see that a cheesy thing that people ask about this show that I think is fun though is who on this show is the Karate Kid? It's Miguel. Like Robbie is an important character, and so is Sam. Those are the other two. Or even you could say Hawk at this point. But I think to me...
Well, because he was the first bullied, right? Is he the first? He's the... in
Miguel's
the show,
the first. It's a Miguel show.
He's the first kid we meet, right? Because it starts out with... in season 1, it starts out with Johnny waking up and going about his day. And when he wakes up and walks out of his house, Miguel immediately engages him. and is like, "Hi, I just moved in next door."
Yeah, where's the recycle? Blah, 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 blah.
And then at the end of that day, he's getting bullied by
Kyler and the douchebags and stuff.
The douchebags, right? The Cobra Kai douchebag clan are bullying him outside the store, and Johnny steps in as his Mr. Miyagi.
Yes,
correct. So
he is the Karate Kid.
Miguel is the Karate Kid, and he's the one that won the championship in season 1.
And
correct?
he walked away potentially at that they showed that he was better than Hawk, who ended up winning the tournament this year. And I know.
Well, we don't know. He was about to strike.
Styles make fights. I know.
He was losing. He was down a point.
Was he down a point?
Yeah, it was 2-1.
Oh yeah. Oh, it was 2-1.
Hawk was up. Yeah, Hawk was up in points.
Yeah, Hawk was an animal this year because he adapted to Daniel's point. He was in that situation where he was in the same situation Robbie was. They spent most of the season showing you what an animal Robbie was because he had adapted both styles, and more than anybody else because of the extent of the way he completely switched dojos. Hawk actually had all three. Hawk spent a little time in Eagle Fang, spent a lot of time in Miyagi-Do at the end there with the big final montage training sessions, and obviously spent so much time with Cobra Kai too as Kreese's number one guy last season.
Yep.
And so, but Danny and Miguel make a lot of sense. And to your point, or to this whole conversation, this show's about many universes, but really it's, if we look at the kids and the adults as the two worlds on this show, the two main characters are Johnny and Miguel. To Joe's point, they're the first ones we met, and I'm not saying Daniel is a total co-star in the show, and so is Sam, and so is Robbie's let in, and all the other characters are important. Dimitri, we'll talk about Dimitri in a little bit, but
I can't wait to see Chozen and Johnny interact.
Yeah,
like especially like when Danny starts being all like ego fuckhead.
Dude, I can't wait to see Chozen interact with all of these guys, because Chozen comes from the world of Karate Kid 2, which it's a for the life kind of competition stuff. So when Terry, or Kreese is gone, but when Terry or Mike Barnes show up and they start throwing that shade, Chozen's gonna like cut people. Like, Chozen's not gonna screw around. Chozen's gonna carry around a freaking and slice some motherfuckers with those sides that are hanging out of Miyagi stuff. He's gonna totally be a great asset, and I think Chozen and Johnny are gonna actually be, I think
they're gonna get along.
They're gonna get along. Yeah, they're gonna both.
They might have a couple of points of contention here or there, but for the most part, I can't wait to see them go like both go at Danny at the same time, over and
that's
over
gonna
again.
That's one of my because I know this show can pull that off where they expect, like, at first they're gonna be like real angry at each other, and then they're gonna realize together that they both have such hatred for Daniel-san together, not hatred, but dealing with his pig-headed bullshit, and it's perfect. And I also really love how we got Kreese's alternate perspective of the Miyagi situation in the same way that we've gotten so many times Johnny's alternative perspective of the Daniel situation.
He beat up. Imagine how I felt when I saw Johnny come in, this old guy.
Yeah,
took his confidence.
And as Johnny said, one of my other dudes got brain damage from that fight. Oh, we love you too, Artie. Thank you so much. Iraqi, they're filming it right now, so your guess is as good as mine. I think it will probably be a faster production schedule. So I would guess in the fall we'll get the new season of Only Murders, because they're filming it right now. Probably taking a holiday break, but I think they're already halfway through the season, so they're streamlining it pretty quick because all the actors wanted to get back to do it pretty quick after the good reception. We got Jay in the live chat. Only watched the last episode. What was the new rule that was introduced in the episode? They
separated the genders in their fights, added
a skills competition,
katas and skills competition.
Yeah, who won the skills competition again?
I don't know.
I have it written down somewhere, but I'm.
It wasn't Miyagi-Do because he missed the kick, because Hawk missed the kick.
No, it was someone from Cobra Kai, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think it was just them as a team.
Oh yeah, they did. It was that they had the best overall score in that particular competition. So
more of them had better scores than
and
others.
didn't have that fuck up moment. And I thought Robbie was probably the best in that situation. Okay, so skills girl, Daniel and Miguel make a lot of sense. Johnny seeing Danny give Miguel the headband is like the fuck, and they again. there's a lot of stuff that they get through in the season, so we don't have to dwell on it too much. But to you said this, and I don't know if you meant it this way, but I'll say it in this way. It's okay that they did this, but there was a lot of emotions and shit that they built up to that final episode, and it all sort of got repaired when Johnny and Daniel were like, "Oh, we got to work together. It's fine." Yeah. But there's a lot of shit mixed in with, or like, I was jealous when I saw you with Sam. I was jealous when I saw you with Miguel. Okay, it's okay now. But that was built up through the whole season. But like up until that last, like we got 9 episodes of that feeling one way or another.
That shit was built up through the last 4 seasons.
Yes, too. No, it really was. I think they did a great job with that by making the kids in the number 1 students be the lightning rods for that instead of themselves, and not do it in a negative way. Do it in a way of Miguel really liking Daniel and Sam seeing the sense in Johnny's teachings, whether she used it perfectly or not in the right situations. And I like that moment when she combined the styles and all that stuff worked. Oh, we got the wonderful, the amazing Dwarf Burger Swamp Beard in the live chat. Miyagi or is it the Karate Kid? The Karate Kid. The Karate Kid wins. Okay, so a lot of parallels. I buy everything. I buy everything in this season. Buy everything in the season except for Miguel ever driving that car smoothly on his first time trying. Like he made him back out of it. There's no way that kid wouldn't have gotten into an accident. Daniel wouldn't have had to take over.
He says, I can't drive. Oh yeah, don't worry. No learner's permits in California.
So that's I believe everything in that season, but that episode fight of Johnny versus Danny was really great. And I've been saying this a lot about lesser shows. Lesser shows would have made the kids talk them out of a fight. Like they led that up, and they also did a great thing where they made Johnny be the one to try to stop the fight. And Daniel was like, "No, you're evil. I need to stop you."
Even though it was Johnny that like took the whole thing super serious and like trained up and like was like, "All right, now you got to let me practice my moves on you, Miguel. I'm ready for this. Like, get ready. I'm gonna come at you and try this out." He's like, dude, chill.
It's tough. I was like, you're doing that all in one day. It reminded me of Danny DeVito doing sit-ups in Twins when he was going to. He's like, I'm gonna get in shape today. You know?
And it's Dan that wakes up with the big hangover that day.
There's no way Johnny remembers all of that.
This is $3, dude. Yeah, and like it's kind of cute because he's like, that scene, right? They end in a fight, and like he's not like, well, I ain't paying for his shit. Like he's just like, yeah, put it on my tab. Like,
when Johnny puts down the money and the bartender goes, it's only $3.
Because like, and it's that moment, right? That I really kind of feel like Daniel kind of likes him.
It's his best friend.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and when he wakes up the next day and he's like, oh no, we weren't being serious. Like I was trying to be nice and tell him like, yeah, and be an asshole and say I got to be the only one to teach these kids, but like it's that's the scene where you feel like, and it's not until the very end of that scene when he pays the tab, when he's like, put it on my tab, and he has another drink, that he's like, damn it, I really kind of like Johnny. I wish I didn't have to I wish I didn't feel like this at this point.
I wish I didn't. It's I guess it's the lesson that he learns at the end. I wish I didn't.
Right, he remembers the Miyagi scene.
Right, I wish I didn't have to forcibly stick to all the Miyagi-Do doctrine, and then at the end he realizes that Miyagi doesn't expect him to do that. Miyagi
he tells him not to do that.
Yeah, make it your own, Daniel-san. That's part. I'm not teaching the same karate my father taught me, and that's why Chozen knows a different sort of thing through Sato, and it's
exactly.
And that's part of Miyagi-Do karate. It's taking.
And that's also why he then brings in Chozen at the end, because he knows that there's more to it than just what Miyagi has taught him.
Absolutely.
That he hasn't done the next step to be a true master, which is add his own. He has only been practicing exactly what Miyagi has taught him. Miyagi has taught him this whole time, right? And those are the doctrines, and those are the lessons, and all this shit. Yeah, I took a little lesson from Chozen last season, But again,
and a little
that
bit
was
from
still-
Terry in season 3 and Karate Kid 3, and
right, but he didn't embrace any of that.
a couple
really
of lessons from the
Chozen,
Y
right?
too. But he's had a couple of lessons from the YMCA.
Right, I forgot about that.
Don't forget, Daniel wasn't a rookie. He had a couple of lessons at the YMCA when he was younger. So okay, so the first half of the season, and we're here for a bit longer, as we say. Make sure if you check this out at a later date, as I know so many people that would be watching this are binge watching the season. So we love that we have a few of you guys popping in here as you ended up watching the season, or just to wish us a happy new year in ducking out before you get any spoilers. But the first half of the season is, we talked about this earlier, is all about the Johnny and Danny working together. And as I've mentioned a couple of times, everything that you loved about seeing the two of them together in previous seasons is for 5 episodes, basically, for a lead up to them fighting. And every time they're about to break up, something else happens and they combine together. And that's really what the first half of the season is about. Second half is the 3 crews working individually and trying to figure out who their champions are. Some nonsense with the All Valley, which ends up being fucking hilarious.
So it follows the basic pattern: boy meets girl, boy and girl, get along and like each other a lot. Then they have a fight and break up, and then they have to get back together. And then they realize they're truly meant to be together, and they get back together in the end. But it's a classic rom-com formula.
It really is.
Great dramedy.
And then at the very end, we get the whole battle between Terry and Kreese, which was done so subtly enough that they didn't call Terry's shot, but not subtle enough that once it happens, you're not like, that's bullshit, that came out of nowhere. Like it wasn't so obvious. To your point, Joe, is when you were saying earlier, you could see his. Right when Kreese first showed up, it was like, be careful what you wish for kind of vibe that he was giving him. Like don't poke the bear. He even says something like that, don't poke the lion, or somebody says that at some point this season. And it just keeps going and keeps going, keeps unlocking him, and then pulling rank at one point in time and judging how he's manipulating and doing his business and not letting him be him. And then with everything with the weaknesses, and then Terry was testing him in the same way Kreese would test somebody else. To your point, Terry's the evilest on this Karate Kid pyramid of evil. Terry is on top. And he was testing Kreese with beating up Johnny. And when Kreese got emotional, it's like, I do know your weakness, and you're nothing to me anymore.
My loyalty is to you, but your loyalty is not to me.
Nope. It's not to each other. It's not Cobra Kai. It's not you and me. It's Johnny. Johnny was your greatest student. He's your greatest success. He makes you feel like, your wife didn't die. Because I thought he was going to say the girl that died, but it's not. But it is, to a certain extent. It's Kreese's. Johnny is the closest thing in that class, was the closest thing he would have to a family, of doing something what he considered good. And that's why it was important you hear the Miyagi story, because unlike Terry, who is actively, consciously evil when he wants to be and manipulative, Kreese, as fucked up as he gets and as emotional as we see at the end of last season, when he almost wants to come at someone with a sai or something to knock them out and do some real damage, he's doing everything because he thinks he's doing the right thing. We learned that about him when he's a kid. We learned that about him, or when he was younger, with everything he dealt with his mother and the whole lead up that we see to that. We learn about that with all of his crew in the Nam stuff, where he doesn't blow them up when he has an opportunity to be self-reliant because he cares too much about his people. He wants to be a hero. He thinks he's doing the right thing. Terry does not give a flying fuck shit about being a hero at all. He doesn't think he's doing the right thing. He said it. I just want to win. And that's what Terry gives a shit about. And they established that early, and they made that conflict between the two of them subtle and make you feel like Kreese had the upper hand through the whole goddamn thing. And at the same and no, it's what does Pacino say in Devil's Advocate when he's talking about what is the devil? The devil's be a piece of shit. Be the person that can be kicked around. So they underestimate you from day one. And that's why Terry is such a good villain in this, because they don't make him that one note he is in Karate Kid 3. They dissuade you by making him do good things, and you're like, he's evil, but he's doing some good stuff, and he's crafting, and he won too. He won the situation, he won the day, he got his win. He finally beat his beat Miyagi-Do and got them destroyed, which he'll sue and try to destroy if Daniel keeps doing it, and he'll go after him. And
no, that's not. There's no upholding any of that.
Right. I guess it's a handshake.
That's a handshake deal. And when it comes down to it, and they go, all right, now it's time for you guys to close up shop, and they go, fuck you.
This is my house, douchebag.
Right.
This is Mr. Miyagi's house. Lane says Mike Barnes is Miguel's dad. I don't know if Mike Barnes is going to be Miguel's dad, but I do think we got the Miguel. We did get the Mike Barnes situation. We are getting Mike Barnes next season, with what Terry said. But it is possible. You never can tell in this type of stuff.
Swank is going to be the mom.
Lane's
Swank is going to be that kid's mom.
Lane says, makes too much sense. Silver says he's bringing back some friends. Miguel never met his dad. Carmen says his dad was abusive and a bad man. Mike Barnes has got to be Miguel's dad. I like where your mind's at. I like that kind of thinking. I wouldn't be surprised, and I think if this show does it will do it well. I think it's going to be two separate storylines. I think the beginning half of next season is going to be Johnny going to save Miguel and dealing with that whole situation with Miguel's father, and I think Mike Barnes is going to come in to help Terry and face off. It's a 2-on-2 essentially. I think both figuratively and literally a 2-on-2 battle between Chozen and Daniel up against Terry and Mike Barnes in general. Merle Davis wants to know, in season 5 they're going to get Dragon Balls. It's certainly possible, but in fairness, they're going in the opposite direction this season. They're going more towards a realer. I struggle to say real, to Joe's point of we have kids that are training in karate at this point 2 years, because it's the second All Valley. So some of these students are 2 years doing backflips and twists and shit.
Yeah, like what, 2-3 times a night for an hour?
Yeah, it's the stuff that takes,
2-3 times a week. I mean, for an hour a night.
Yeah, and now they're doing crazy. Now they look like outtakes from Enter the Dragon or something like that, and Bloodsport and shit. People that are entering the Kumite. I mean, if these kids don't enter the Kumite by the time that they're 30 or something, because of the how good they were getting so fast, so something is wrong. So I wouldn't be surprised if they get Dragon Balls eventually. But this season did take the combat stuff a little bit more serious in the way that it felt to me. And we talked about that a few times, as I think the writing on the show has always been consistent, but production value this season is at least 1 point higher, in the sense of having that Netflix money, Netflix being like your success. And we fucking we pulled the plug on so many other shows. You're one of the only ones we have left. So anything you guys want to do? You want to pay Chozen salary?
It's such a good show. It's such a good show.
We'll do whatever you want.
One of the things,
Terry pulled his.
He really surprised me. Like, I saw the payoff to the refs coming, because they when the ex-wife shows up and is like, he showed up, gave him a car.
Yeah, I like that scene too. That was a good scene. That was a good scene for her too. Yeah, that was a good scene for her too. That again, to my point, that added depth to her character, that showed that she's not a mark, and now that she's sober, she can it's making her out to be smart. Like Robbie has that little thing where you can see a scam coming a mile away. He has because she's smarter than Johnny in that sense, and where she can just, because she's been through it, she sees it.
Yeah, and she's been doing it to guys too. But yeah. So I saw a lot of that coming, but I really didn't see, and I knew he was gonna fuck Kreese over somehow. You could see his rage building towards Kreese and his anger building, but I didn't see the Stingray. I didn't see. No, I thought
Stingray was going to be his downfall, not his.
I did too. Not his secret.
The one thing he wasn't careful about. Not that he was doing something tactical in that moment, being drunk and freaking out. I believed the actor's performance and the way the scene was set up, that he lost control in that moment because he was pissed off and emotional and lost his shit. And that's what I think is really fucking incredible.
And when you see it now, when you see it all, after you see it all, You're like, oh, and then they add that little extra second of footage, right?
Yep.
You're like, oh, fucking course. Like, he's saying it the whole time as he's kicking him in the fucking belly and beating him up. He's like, you want to be
He's
Cobra
conditioning
Kai?
him.
Whack. Do you? Do you really want to be? Boom. Are you sure?
Yeah, and you view it in a completely different way. Like when you're watching it one way, you're like, he's just bitch. He's like saying, yeah, you're not material, but no, he's actually saying it to him literally. You want to be Cobra Kai, this is what you have to go through. This is the beatdown you need to deal with. And Stingray, wait for Stingray to be like relevant. Both and Aisha being there too. Like both those, especially Stingray though, they did more with him. I thought for a moment they were going to bring her back to Cobra Kai or something, and that she was going to end up Johnny's student. But they didn't go that direction. But the minute they showed her fighting on a screen at one point, I knew the actress was coming back, because she wouldn't have allowed her likeness in that situation if they weren't going to bring her back for something. But the Stingray really earned his keep in the situation for being, because I thought he was just going to be on for a moment. Oh, that's a cameo, Stingray. And I'm like, oh, he's the dude at the party. And then he ended up being a major factor of that. And Lane says,
you knew he was coming back. They weren't just like when he had the first scene with him being a dink in his fucking yard and getting called Stinkray.
Stinkray.
You knew he was coming back.
I love the Stinkray.
At least another time in the season.
Oh, I love Stingray. That's forever he will be known as Stingray. Lane says Terry pulled his inner Palpatine. I would say he pulled his Palpatine, but unlike Palpatine, or unlike George Lucas's creation of the prequel trilogy, it's not on the point so obvious that this guy's the evil guy from literally the very beginning of the story. Who's the guy under the hood? Doesn't he look a lot like that dude? Terry actually pulled off, or Cobra Kai managed to make Terry look crafty, where I do think the actor Ian McDermott,
the whole time he keeps saying, forget this fucking kid drama shit. Let's just worry about the tournament. Worry about training these kids. Get over it, Kreese. Get over it. Yada yada. The whole time, so you don't really see that evil side of him. You kind of think that he has changed, like they've shown us everybody else had changed.
Yep, and especially when you parallel him with Kreese, who is so fucked up by nature, and you've set him up as the emperor in the situation, as he's the evil point. So right when you introduce Terry, no matter what he did in Karate Kid 3 to most of Cobra Kai in that universe, you're showing him more depth. You're giving him more heart. Excuse me. So he's looking less of a bad guy in comparison to him right there. So it just makes you not look at him the same way and look at him through the season of like, oh, he's going to screw Kreese over in the end. More like he's another. At one point, before that all came together, I was writing in my notes, and I think I have it. It's like right around here. This season, part of this season is showing how anyone that touches Kreese, life falls apart, and they get all. And basically, the point at the end where Terry is this, where we find out through Dimitri and Hawk doing internet research that Terry, for the most part, has been a successful businessman that's had some ups and downs, but didn't do anything on paper, relatively evil. And ever since Karate Kid 3, he's turned around and done the situation. I thought the whole thing of the story was showing how when Kreese touches you, everything goes to hell. It happened to Johnny. It's going to happen to Robbie. It's going to happen to Terry. It's going to happen to everybody. And they goosed me with that. And the showrunners knew that making this. And they knew I'd be thinking that. And instead of and they crafted something much better than I could have even imagined. And I think it's not even about doing what you're not expecting for expecting sakes. What they did on the show all makes sense. And what someone earlier said, I hate what they did with Miguel. I didn't love it either, but it all made sense. It all made sense that, and I got a solid conclusion to the season that felt conclusive and brought me on. I don't feel like I have any cliffhangers moving forward that I'm like, oh God, fuck, this sucks. I know what's going to happen next. I can't wait to see all this stuff, but it's not, they didn't leave me with television blue balls. They satisfied me, and they're getting me, fluffing me, and they fluffed me a little bit for next time. And that's what's so perfect about the way they end things here. okay, this is where I start writing in my notes. And I'm not going through the 20 pages. I'm going through the first 3 here, the stuff I have in bold. But I won't keep you here for 2 weeks, Joe. But we might do other Cobra Kai content in future weeks to break apart some of these episodes and do some season 5 predictions and those kind of things. This is just our immediate reaction video and some of our thoughts. We wanted to get out here early so we can both enjoy our New Year's Eve activities tonight, napping and waking up at 2 a.m. However, we enjoy our New Year's Eves. Okay, so starting to head down here. We're not going to be done right away, but we're got a little bit left here. If anyone wants to get in some thoughts or comments about this season. So a lot of parallels, but I buy everything. This is where I start writing Anthony Jr. sucks. But does he suck? Okay.
Yes. Especially at running.
Does he suck in a way that, no, I'm gonna answer my own question for me. He doesn't suck in the way that the actor sucks. The character sucks, and the actor plays a good job playing a little douchebag.
Yeah, his friends are bigger douchebags, obviously.
The Sandlot little kids, the young version of Kyler's. Kyler is the most useless fucking piece of shit character in the fucking show. Fuck that guy. I mean, he serves a role, but he's not even a good bully. He's getting his ass kicked by that kid like the first day he's trained. Like Kyler's just weak, and they show him he's the Glass Joe of this universe. He's like the first villain, the first battle.
He's the biggest mouth.
Yeah. Merle Davis is going to get some coffee. Have a good one, Merle. So Anthony Jr. sucks. Johnny says, "I love you, Robbie," which directly equals Miguel doesn't fight. We got Eli versus Robbie, which is and Sam versus Tori in our final rounds. So Cobra Kai wins 1. Miyagi just needs to. So Cobra Kai will win 1. They set it up that if Cobra Kai wins 1 of these 2, they win. Miyagi needs to beat both of them because Cobra Kai won the skills competition. So we get Robbie versus Hawk. It is going into this battle, Joe. Who did you expect to win the fight? Did you think Hawk had a chance? Do you think? Because I
expected Hawk to win
because there was no way they weren't going to go down the final round that mattered. There was no way they weren't going to have the Sam versus Tori match. That was
the one they were focusing on the entire season.
Yes.
It wasn't about Robbie and Miguel's rivalry.
Past 2 seasons, maybe.
Yeah, because, that's who's, Miguel's spine was broken. They don't want to be fighting each other like that all the time. And, even as soon as they all got thrown in the pool, that was kind of the end of the fight.
Yeah. That was a good. The prom stuff was actually really good too. I expected the prom stuff to be bad, but I also want to say that I do like Dimitri, and I thought Dimitri was less annoying this season, and I felt good for him in the romance situation, and just for teen drama stuff, I was rooting for Moon and Eli, and I thought the way they did that whole thing actually worked well too. I enjoy Eli in general. We haven't talked a lot about Hawk other than he wins, but this is a good time to kind of just talk about Hawk overall as a season. Yeah, you could say he's a flip-flopper and goes back and forth. But I think, again, everything that Hawk did this season made sense. He did a lot of shitty shit the last 2 seasons. They couldn't ignore, and they didn't. And I'm glad they didn't. It wasn't like, oh, he turned sides in the fight. He's on our team now.
Everybody's okay.
No, everyone hates him. Like literally, except for Dimitri and Miguel, which they get back to the friendship of the 3 of them, which I appreciated. But besides that, everyone kind of hates Hawk for the beginning part of the season, and until he gets attacked and head shaved and all that, and goes back to Eli and thinks about quitting karate and all that sort of stuff. And it's really his friendship with the binary brother there, bringing out that video and connecting with him. And it's like I can't be a Batman. You're my Bat. And I think Dimitri really.
I don't know. He doesn't know DC.
He does. Yeah, he doesn't know. Hawk is a Hawk that doesn't know DC, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I thought that really worked. I think the fact that they're nerds and they're really smart, they found their moments to show that this season, which I think you lost in the last 2 seasons. You had a little bit with that Doctor Who line between the 2 of them at the party, but you really felt their friendship this season. And I think it's important that you got back to that, because that's part of why I think All 3 seasons and all 4 seasons were amazing. I think my favorites, if I'm doing a power ranking right now, and yes, recency bias, would be 4, 1, and then 2 and 3 are tied. I think I like season 4 and season 1 are my favorite 2 seasons. With
1, 4, 3, 2.
And I think right now I'm 4, 1, 3, 2. I think 2 is my least favorite season. It's not a bad season. It's just with it's not my, it's, if I have to pick a least favorite, I think I would agree with you. And I would say the only ones I'd have to rewatch season 4 as many times as I've watched season 1, but season 1 just has a place in my heart, and the way I watched it and the way I discovered the show, watching it on YouTube was there's something about that whole dynamic of the first time you watch that show. I don't know. There's like, is it a Funny or Die segment? Is this a skit? Is this an extension of that How I Met Your Mother thing? Like, what's going on here? Is this real?
It's so good. It's so good.
And then as it earns your credit of thinking this is real, I think shows that do that you go in with one expectation, and that's another high point before I get into the last couple of things that we want to talk about here. The show goes in knowing that it knows you're going to do its game. And instead of changing things up so much, it leans into it, and it just does what it does. It doesn't try to change up too much, but it's very aware of the response of the audience being there. And in this meta way that doesn't feel obnoxious in the way that the new Matrix movie feels fucking obnoxious, or Terminator Genesis. We'll talk about that next. Well, maybe we'll go on a couple of days or something. But we could. I don't want to dissuade this for you and me shitting on that movie. But that was one of the most boring movies I've watched in 20 years. And I'm
gonna save all my comments, Phil.
Okay. So, but some of those things like that are just, yeah. And I think Cobra Kai knows it, but it's not cheesy. Like, for me, anyways, it and I've said this a few times, it handles member berries better than anything ever has.
Because of its tongue in cheek, because of its because it knows exactly what it is, and it knows not to take itself too seriously. Like, the original movies are, for the most part, they're serious movies, right? They're not taking itself lightly. They're trying to tell a story about whatever. And this is doing that, but it knows where it came from, and it knows that it's 80s cheese. Mm-hmm. So it takes itself with that grain of salt in mind and gives us a level of cheese and tongue-in-cheek that allows you to say, it allows you to just relax and enjoy what it gives you.
But it also somewhat, in a weird way, sometimes takes itself kind of serious, but not like the originals. I know what you're saying. Like the original, especially the first. I mean, there's a fight to the death in the second movie.
And the second one, right? Like in season 2, a kid gets his back fucking broken.
And as cheesy as episode 3. Episode 3, as cheesy as Karate Kid 3 can be at times, if you just look at it from what happened has really happened. Ralph Macchio got haunted. Daniel-san got haunted by Mike Barnes. He was hanging off a cliff. He was threatening his life. It wasn't quite like facing a fight to the death with Chozen, but they tried to start a business. They vandalized their business. He got manipulated. I mean, Terry says it at the beginning of this season. I was stalking a teenager. I was thinking about it being like all this sort of stuff. Almost in retrospect, when you look back to the beginning of the season and some of the stuff Terry was saying things like that looks more like humble brags after the fact. Like he was saying, I can't believe I did that. It was like almost like he's bragging off about it. And it makes me want to immediately rewatch the season just to kind of watch all and see Terry kind of gets the plan going. And I think he does from the moment he sees Kreese walking in, whether he chooses to go the nuclear route or not, the nuclear waste route or not, pun intended. Or
no, I don't think he wanted to get. I think he's been happy not having anything to do with Kreese for these last bunch of years, having that weight of the guilt trip Kreese always lays on him every time. Every time they see each other. Remember back what it was like in Nam?
Joe,
and
remember that time I drove? Joe, remember that time I drove and picked you up? Remember that time? Remember that?
Right? Like every time he says that to him, like whether he brings up the specific like cage and saving all their lives or not, just by bringing up we knew each other in Nam. Every time he says Nam, that's going to be the first thing this guy thinks about, right? And that's going to be the guilt trip that's laid upon in his head. And he's been playing it for years. And so he didn't want to see fucking Kreese walk through his door at all. And I think he really kind of felt that way. Like you had me acting like a fucking dick.
Yeah.
I was doing some awful shit. I really felt like they weren't humble brags, but like you said, now I kind of want to go back and watch it.
Yeah, and
I don't think it was until that moment when Kreese walks back in and actually threatens him with the beer, like that he decides.
Oh, because he tells me he has a weakness, because
like right, that whole weakness thing. He says, what about Kreese has a weakness? And he goes, of course Kreese has a weakness. We all have a weakness. And he does say we all have, but he doesn't say I have, you have, she has. He says we all have. But Kreese, he says, he actually does say Kreese's name.
Yeah.
But
no, because Tori said
Kreese took that too personally.
She did. Tori mentioned it. Tori's actually. She goes, "What about Sensei?" It's a kind of a weird line read where Tori's like, "But what about Sensei Kreese? He doesn't have any weaknesses." And Terry goes, "No, he has weaknesses." And the way he says it too is very measured and a matter of factly. To just of
and
course,
quick to respond.
Of course, yeah. Like I know his weakness. I can stop. I feel like I have to tie my hair in a ponytail right now in honor of Terry. Holy shit! Fernandez T in the live motherfucking chat says, "Good morning, gentlemen. Day is starting good thanks to this. Thank God it's Friday. Too early to take a shot. So please don't, unless you really want to. What I will do is, I'm not saying that there's any substance inside this Coke, but I will take a sip of some Coca-Cola, which trust me, as hyper as I need, I don't need any more caffeine. Maybe I'll get up in a second. I owe you a shot, Fernandez." I'm like, what time is it? 11 in the morning on New Year's Eve? I guess I could take a shot. So, okay, so Hawk wins. I do like Hawk this season. I think I predict most people just numbers wise would think that Hawk would win that situation just because they can't wait it out. They have to have the final battle mean something.
Yeah, he did. He said he was all high up on coke and shit too. Well,
oh yeah, Terry. Yeah, he was high. That was the '80s. I was all high up on coke. I didn't even know that was Terry Silver took cocaine while he was tormenting Daniel in Karate Kid 3. Yeah, I guess I didn't realize that too, but it makes a lot of sense if you look back on it.
Yeah, he was nuts.
And then he had that guy. What was that guy's name? He had his little Cobra Kai buddy. He was like Snake or something. Snake was probably his coke dealer. So it's like if you want to know how to be a bad boy in LA, Snake's your guy. And I mean, I believe that's what he says. Coconut rum and Coke goes very well. It's not coconut. So Daniel, overtime is weird. Oh yeah, the overtime thing is weird. I think it was just how they randomly said in the middle of their fight. Was the score 2-2 when they went into that random moment where in Robbie and fight they went into
I thought it was 1-1.
It was 1-1, and they skipped a point that would have actually to put it into. It was kind of a weird transition, and I think it was just sort of a shout out again to Karate Kid 3, which there was a lot of references to Karate Kid 3, which ends in the sudden death match. So they wanted to get it back to a sudden death match. Robbie takes off his shirt. Eli takes off his shirt. We talked about that earlier. At first, I'm like, they're taking off then I was like, oh, they're doing Bloodsport. This is fucking amazing. And thank you, Ian. So Robbie has a chance, but he blows it. They also gave Robbie that opportunity too. So was that also Oh no, because Robbie actually missed a move. He had him down, and he was right there, and he could have hit him or something. And
but he was looking at the kid on the sideline.
Oh yeah, he was looking at Kenny. He was looking at Kenny.
Was it Kenny he was looking at? Yeah,
I believe because he was rooting him on to like finish him, and so. Again, they also did the wrestling face guy thing where they showed you that Robbie could have won if the circumstances were a little different. They didn't do that with Samantha in the sense now thinking back now that they showed that Terry bribed the dude. They just straight out that Samantha won that fight and Tori's trophy means shit, which what that's going to do to Tori next season is any guess if that's going to have her turn on Terry immediately but she's not going to Miyagi-Do. Does that send her off the show or something?
Why wouldn't she go to Miyagi-Do?
Who's she loyal to over there? Oh, Amanda. I guess she could get there through Amanda. She's friends with Amanda and Sam. Now that I think Sam and her might be the new Johnny and Daniel next season at times, having some uncomfortable interactions that turns into a weird friendship, possibly.
Agreed.
Okay, so Hawk wins.
Which our girl foreshadows when she goes down and said, I could tell immediately I was going to get it from this girl in pink. So I went straight up and I now she's my bestie.
Now she's my bestie. Yep. Good point, Joe. And all comes down to the girls' finale. Amanda talks to Tori before to have some closure of their scenes, and they and says just to play by the rules. It's kind of just making her getting in Tori's head now. It's supposed to be just the completion of the scene that they had with each other. Daniel takes a shit. I need your help. He finally takes a shit at the end, tucks himself underneath, even for self-satisfying reasons, decides that Sam is going to listen to Johnny anyway, because I forgot to mention that Sam in the previous round is sort of dealing with a brick wall of a fight, and the only way that she beats the person is by throwing in some Miyagi moves. Some Eagle Fang moves.
Cobra Kai. Eagle Fang,
yeah, which is Cobra. I mean, come on, it's Johnny Lawrence Cobra Kai, and so Daniel sort of sees the writing on the wall, and he tips his hat to that by doing it with Hawk, saying to Hawk, "You're the one that you're actually a little better than Robbie because you have more time in Cobra Kai, and you've taken to Miyagi-Do better, and blah blah blah, whatever." So in him seeing that work, tried to do a similar thing with Sam, and I think it gave Sam more of a chance. I think if Sam had tried to just fight Miyagi, that's a good question. If Sam had just fought Miyagi style against Tori the whole time, would she have won the fight?
Well, they were setting it up to say no, she wasn't going to.
Right. They were setting it up that style wouldn't have been enough in that situation because Robbie taught her the key. Robbie taught Tori's the keys and how to kind of get through that. And once she shifts her style to Eagle Fang, Tori was like, I can't win this fight. I can't. It's again, to do the Rocky thing. It's like when Apollo had to teach Rocky to fight like Apollo to beat Mr. T because he couldn't beat Mr. T fighting like Rocky. And great to see Real YT and... Oh my goodness, Fernandez T. That super chat donation has me high on Coke, like Terry Silver. Let me get one more. Oh, thank you. Yes, like I said, I can slow drink a slight mixed drink in the morning here, but I can't do vodka shots. So that drink, that's second drink for you for that amazing generous super chat donation, my buddy Fernandez T. You asked me not to play the drum, so I won't do that to you. I'm kidding. Okay, so Miyagi Fang, let's do it. And one of the parts, I'm not going to note every part that did it, but one of the parts that almost put the slight little tear to my eye, Joe, is when Daniel runs out to the announcer and whispers to him that Johnny Lawrence is also the two-time champ. I don't know what that made me go, oh. That was
respect.
Yep.
They're showing each other respect thing, and then they bow to each other too, which again highlighted that, like when he says it to the kid. You're showing him respect.
Exactly. And then Tori lucks out and a wrestling thing, and they also did the thing with the out of bounds thing. So they had Sam have basically two opportunities to win before Tori got able to get that final point to win. Vodka is like eating potato. Exactly. No one eats. Well, I could get some vodka home fries. So Sam looks dangerous though. The way he set her up, like the way she was fighting when she knew both styles. Like you felt those sense of the style changes with Sam, and then when she adapted all three styles, again that goes to the fight choreographers for showing the distinct styles between the Miyagi-Do and the Cobra Kai style, and when Sam chooses to adapt multiple moves in the more fluid, be like water, Chikando kind of stuff, of taking all the styles, mixed martial arts, whatever, into it, she kind of gets a different stance and a different thing. But Tori wins, and Cobra Kai's win, and it's always interesting when the bad guys win. This is the second time in a row, not the bad guys, but Cobra Kai's won, but in this situation, it's definitely the bad guys. Terry gives a speech, at this point, he already knows what he's going to do with John Kreese. Again, I can't wait to rewatch this, but he's giving this speech knowing full on that he's about to fuck Kreese over. That this is the Jimmy's on top of this Sunday.
That the police are already on their way.
Probably that it's already in motion. That any day that probably yeah.
Because how else? Like they're looking for Terry. I mean, they're looking for Kreese. Right.
Terry must have.
How else would they know that he was at Terry's house?
Exactly. Terry must have followed up with Stingray. Like we don't see the in between time, but Terry's gone to the hospital to see Stingray and followed up on him and made sure his story's straight, telling him where Kreese would be at what time and what situation. This was all cleverly crafted. Even in a movie not cleverly crafted like Karate Kid 3, Terry's plans are complex and detailed and throw many different shades and faces. Sam cries, "We did the right thing and I still lose." Robbie smiles at Johnny Lawrence kind of smugly that they won. Miguel left before the finals, and I said right at this point we didn't find out to go find his dad. Like everyone knew. Tori celebrates, but we see in Tori celebrating, which I didn't know what was going to happen when she went in with the trophy. Because I know you called the Terry thing, so you're probably expecting this in this moment. When she went in, I kind of expected her to bump into Sam, and we get a preview of her and Sam maybe becoming friends or something. Like seeing Sam crying, because when Sam lost, she ran up to her, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And so I thought we were getting a completion of that scene, but that's next season's arc for Tori. Now that they've actually made her a character, not a cartoon character that goes with this like evil cartoon character face that she had the last 2 seasons that she didn't have this season. She was an actress and played a character this year. And I think, not that I didn't like Tori in the first 2 experiences.
Well, because more worried about other shit.
Yeah, they gave
her a little bit more dimension than just worrying about if her karate was good.
Exactly, and I really like that. So then we see Johnny going on a ride to Cobra Kai, and we see that Cobra Kai is moving all their stuff. We see Robbie there, as we haven't talked a lot about the Kenny story, where Kenny gets bullied at the beginning of the season by Daniel LaRusso and his friends, but joins Cobra Kai, and so this is where Cobra Kai does this better than normal teen stuff that are trying to teach you a message or some stuff. I forgot to also mention Johnny's fake feminism speech when they're trying to get a girl to join Cobra Kai. That was fucking hilarious.
I don't even know what any of that shit means.
I'm just repeating. You were certainly convincing. But the way they did this was so multi-layered. So at times you were rooting for one person. They made you, as much as LaRusso's kid is a dick cheese, by the end when he gets his ass kicked, you're kind of like, oh, he's such a turd. Now he's going to be hunted and fucked with and yes, he deserves it to a certain extent, but he was trying to apologize at the end there and try to do the right thing of like eating his own shit and being like, I fucked with you, I'm sorry. Can we like ignore each other and move forward here? And
the kid already kind of got revenge too, right?
So like
in the library, like he ran and then like predated them all in the fucking library.
Yeah, he just didn't get a hit in because he got to punch each one of those other kids, but at the last minute, except him. So maybe if that could have been the last thing, but it seemed to be that.
But he still got him because he got in trouble. He got suspended from school.
He did.
And he got grounded and all that shit. So he still got him, but he still
But that guy's drinking. But that guy's.
Did they ever put hands on him aside from like throw milk at him?
No, not real. Yes, I think so. The first time they saw him, LaRusso didn't hit him though. All the other kids hit him, but LaRusso, because they had him. They were fucking with him. Someone showed up, and right when they were like, LaRusso, hit him. Go ahead, hit him. And
show us that karate.
And someone showed up, and they ran away. And that was where it was like LaRusso, or whatever the fuck they call him. What are they? Lapusso, or whatever it is. Stupid. But again, another show, cheesy teen drama kind of stuff, won't pull that off as multi-layered. They'll make a good guy and a bad guy. In that situation, they flip-flopped that a lot in a very organic way, where you rooted for that kid Kenny like he was getting his fuck kicked, and they put Daniel's kid in this horrible position, but they made Daniel think he was the right one, and they had that whole parallel with him lying to his kid, and you could see the look on his face like he didn't do it, he was doing it all because he wanted to fit in with those other way douchier kids than him, but it didn't matter. He was still doing it. But then the other kid you felt bad for him because he couldn't get a break. He got thrown out. He was fucked with Kyler and got thrown out of Cobra Kai, even though he thought he could have some help. Robbie starts training him, and you're on his side, but then he starts majorly drinking the Kool-Aid, and they hint at it through the rest of the season, not so subtly. Oh, he's fast. He's really fast. So next year when Robbie quits Cobra Kai because he doesn't want to deal with this craziness and goes on his own path, not saying he's going back to the Miyagi team, but when he leaves the craziness that is going to be Barnes or maybe he'll just, I think they're priming this kid Kenny to be the new best guy, the one that's going to be, because he could almost beat Robbie now with only a minimal training. What's this kid going to do with another year of Terry and Mike Barnes training him? He's going to be better than Robbie. He's going to be better than Miguel. He's going to be next level good. I think they were setting this kid up in that way too this season with how fast he is, and then having the pedigree of the kid we saw last season that was just in a street fight could beat the shit out of Robbie. I mean, that's his brother. So Robbie said that at one point in the season, I seen this kid's brother fight. This kid has a heart of steel in there somewhere. But I thought if any people didn't get, I thought the kid with the glasses and the other little kids too, they
didn't get much screen time.
They didn't get much screen time. Bert, but they gave him like one or two lines throughout the season, but they didn't get much, and neither did Penis Breath. This was much more about the main characters, and that's fine. I didn't mind that. And at the end of the episode here, Terry, Johnny goes on a ride, Cobra Kai. Robbie confides in him about the situation, and him and Kenny, or he basically, him and his father make amends to a certain extent. It's not going to be better, but this was the best acting.
Now it can start to get better.
Now it can start to get better. And this is just from an acting standpoint. And some people could be like, oh, fuck, I didn't buy it. This was the best acting the kid that played Robbie did in the entire run of Cobra Kai. Like when he's crying to his dad, he finally drops that little like kind of thing, and he's actually a real boy for a second. And I've said that about Tori too. Tori became a real girl at one point in the season. Robbie, through most of it, was like a device from the Miyagi-Do karate in season 1, a device for Daniel to have another one-up on Johnny last season, a device or whatever it was, device to make Miguel and Sam to lead up to that fight and have.
Yeah, they just made him a pouting little kid the whole time.
Yeah, but in this season they actually good self-censoring, Joe. In this season they really made him more of a character again, just like with Tori, and this was the big emotional moment that they led up to, and it worked for me. And I guess it's not going to work for everybody, but it really worked for me. And I bought his emotion, and the actor pulled it off. And William Zabka continues to be, as you said earlier, the underrated X factor on the show, because it is his show and you take it for granted. But Macchio's gotten a lot more work in his life than Zabka has. And Zabka carries this show. I'm not saying Macchio's bad on it in any way, shape, or form.
No. Zabka hands down is the better actor.
Yeah. And you see it on the show. And no offense, Ralph Macchio fans, thumb me down all you want. I love Ralph Macchio. I love My Cousin Vinny. I love Crossroads. I love him, in The Outsiders or whatever shit he pops up on. Ralph Macchio is a good, fun person to have on screen. But Zabka has more acting emotion chops in him than Macchio does. At least he shows it more on this show, and I haven't seen Macchio do a lot of that. Macchio's always a version of Macchio. And Zabka is not Johnny Lawrence. And granted, Zabka's always that bully, but in this show, he plays a lot more than that bully and adds more depth and substance than necessarily Daniel does to Daniel LaRusso. Daniel's depth came in the movies, and they work off of that on Cobra Kai. They don't make a lot of new grounds with Daniel, except for his interactions with Johnny and his acceptance of Johnny, or with Chozen or something.
Daniel's relearning the lessons from the first movie.
Yeah, because Miyagi's been gone for so long, and he's building back up with that, with his karate situation.
So they kind of give us that with Danny, and they make that his depth. Like, remember, everybody, we already gave Daniel the depth. See? And then to round it all off in the same respect, though, they add an extra layer. We get to see Daniel finally making all the connections and kind of about to take his own step forward without Miyagi for the first time.
Exactly. Exactly. And sort of actually bringing in more styles, and that's why.
And yeah, embracing other people's point of view,
Right,
on
not just
Chozen,
Miyagi.
Johnny.
And I hope they build off that in the next season, because they did the work that you need to do to make me buy it from this year into that he would need to learn that lesson. They made him so pig-headed, and to see like the aha moment. And that's the other thing that this I don't want to talk about the Matrix, but it's worth mentioning that other shows and movies try showing you clips at times of previous movies to further along the plot of their own movie. Most times it's awkward and throws you off the narrative of what you're watching. It works in this show. Every time they show a old Karate Kid clip or Karate Kid 3 clip, it's necessary, because this show, you can watch this without watching the other movies. And they make it so it works. And if you have seen the movies, those work as nostalgic bait to give you in that emotional feeling that you had in that moment of the scene. And for the other people, it shows what happened in a very simple way that they wouldn't have had to watch the movie. Like, and I'm going to be curious, because I do know a lot of Cobra Kai fans that maybe have gone back, but some that still haven't, that not knowing who, especially Karate Kid 3, a lot of people see the first two and then just drop off. How much like seeing Terry just from the beginning here. And I think it would work just from what we've seen on Cobra Kai, from seeing him in the flashback last year in being in the cell with the fighting pit thing, and what we see everything this year with him too. It all makes sense who he is, even without seeing Karate Kid 3. That just informs it more. Chozen and all that stuff, that's a little, you almost have to see it. But again, they still show you the flashbacks for it. But you miss out a little bit because the actor playing Chozen plays him so nice now. Even when he's playing an asshole, you see the smile in there and his ability, because he knows he's better than Daniel now. So
he's better than Daniel because he's
Miyagi good. He's Sato Miyagi good, which I think if we're doing our tiers of the Karate Kid thing, I put Miyagi S and Sato are both S tier, and I think. We'll see more of Chozen next season, but we're led to believe that, I'm led to believe that Chozen had the Miyagi-Do from the other generation trainer the longest, because Sato turned good again and he knew everything Miyagi knew and was able to reaccept Chozen into his life and train him before Sato died, leave him his business, leave him his everything, and also leave him with all of the history of Miyagi-Do karate. He's the closest thing to Mr. Miyagi from like a skills standpoint that we have on the show. He's going to be better than Terry at this point. He's going to be better than I think Chozen kicks everyone's ass next season.
I hope they really show us that too.
Yeah. No, me too. I always knew Silver was going to cheat, says Brandon. Joe did as well. Joe is on board with you on that one. I totally didn't, and I'm going to be real about it, and Joe's real too when he doesn't know stuff, because we were talking about several stuff. That's not one of the ones I picked out. I thought they were doing a different thing by showing the hit. I thought Terry was going to pay people off. What I thought was going to happen, and I made a video about it, and it's wrong. And I'm like, do I take the video down because it was a wrong prediction, or you keep that shit up? I don't know what you do. I think I'll probably take it down, but I'll say in this one, I made a prediction video that the rule change was going to be Terry bribing the judges to make it a no mercy kind of thing, where you had to like actually knock the person out or make them tap out in some way, like bringing it more to a mixed martial arts, not just karate, and that was going to be what the vote was going to be on. And when he's like, God help me all from the trailer, and that was going to be Terry's manipulation to try to skewer the situation to more of Cobra Kai's physical advantage in the way that they fight. So the idea of him paying people off was in there, but in that situation, I didn't think, he's paying off the judge, and I also didn't call him his switch heel turn on John Kreese either. That was completely flabbergasted me as well.
Yeah, and Stingray flabbergasted.
Yeah, the Stingray stuff, and. Okay.
And the heel on Kreese I saw coming, but yeah, not.
I forgot to ask you this question before when we got into the Tori and Sam fight. Tori and Sam fight, Tori wins. Previous to the previous fight, I totally agree with you. Going into it, I knew watching it. Wait, there's no way Robbie wins this fight if
the other one's coming up.
Right, the other one's coming up. It's like when again you see your to do another wrestler thing. You see the wrestler fight a fight before WrestleMania, and you know he has a title fight, and it's the champ's fighting a fight. You know he's not going to lose it.
Right, because if Robbie wins that, it's over.
Why even watch the second fight? I mean, yeah, bragging rights, but it already Miyagi-Do's already. They can just
Miyagi-Do's already out.
Already
right.
out.
So he can't.
So, but going into the Sam versus Tori fight, who did you think? Did you think Sam was going to win the fight?
Honestly, I did.
Yeah, me too.
I thought it was going to be a huge feel good moment, and
of her combining the two karates, and they led that up, dude. They led that up so fucking perfect with the two of them coming together, and then
and honestly, I'm kind of sitting there going, yeah, she's going to do it.
Dude, they did that.
I was rooting for it too, man.
Dude, and they did it twice in a row to us. Like, for me anyways. They did it there, and then they did it with Kreese and Terry at the end when they were hanging out, toasting to their victories. I was like, oh my God. You never see a scene like that with the two bad guys toasting to their victories all casual like that. I'm like, oh my God. They're actually doing that scene. And then obviously what happened?
Well, right down to like you. Did you think that Tori was going to win? Because even you get the feeling when the kid goes, he says good luck to her right before the fight. She even gives him a look like, what do you mean? I don't need good luck. Good luck. Don't you mean kick her ass?
Right. I think
there's a big difference between those two statements. No.
I think at that point Tori was confident that she was going to be able to fight her style, and Sam was just going to do defensive Miyagi-Do stuff, and she had an entry point to kick her ass there. And so, and yes, I think Robbie, to your point, Joe, to your question, I kind of answered your question with a different question. To your point, Robbie thought that Sam was going to win.
Yep.
Like I think there are a lot of surprised people. Robbie being top, like the look on his face through most of that was I think Robbie was like, oh my God. I think everyone, including the characters on the show, including Tori, kind of, maybe Tori was the only one that thought she was going to win, or because she thought she was going to be able to dominate the defensive style because of what Terry had prepared her for. Yeah. But I don't think. So going into that fight, I had thought Sam was going to probably win, especially as the way they were leading into it. But I had a hope or a sneaking suspicion once they had that Amanda conversation with Tori. But I mentioned it before when I thought, and I think everyone might not be unique to that, when Kreese wouldn't let her follow up on being extra violent and is like, fight your game to her and all that sort of stuff. And Terry's like, what the fuck? And Tori just goes in there and does her own thing. That was the moment where I thought, okay, maybe Tori's going to win this. And I was completely blindsided to the fact that Terry fixed it, that the fix was in.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what Brandon in the live chat here. Let's catch up with Brandon.
See, I knew, and here's the conundrum I'm in, because I knew the fix was in, but not until like I saw it coming. As soon as the kick and the step out happened is when I was like, he bought that ref, and it made sense to me because of the getting the car and throwing all that money in the exposition the ex-wife offers when she comes and finds Johnny.
Yeah.
But up until that kick that made her step out of bounds, I didn't know there was a payoff, or didn't suspect a payoff, and thought Sam was going to win that fight.
Yeah, Brandon pops in the live chat. Great comments, Brandon. Brandon says that we'll catch up with your chat. Chozen and Daniel were about evenly matched, but for the pressure point techniques and possibly other secret Miyagi-Do, Johnny and Daniel were very, very clearly evenly matched. Terry ripped Johnny a new asshole. Terry definitely ripped Johnny a new asshole. Not sure how far Chozen would fare against Kreese after that fight with Johnny.
Well, okay, no, okay. Hey,
Styles make fights too. Hold
on a second. He kicks Johnny's ass, but he also, as soon as Johnny walks in the fucking building, but as he
does cold cock him. He does cheap shot
in the fucking ear, and they make it a point to realize his whole fucking equilibrium's down or off. He's on the ground. All he can hear is ringing. He's trying to get his fucking orientation back. First off, like, So when he gets up to fight some more, like he's not in a good position. It's not like
you don't get Johnny at his best in like the way you get him in the Daniel fight.
Right.
Or
you get him after a pretty hard sucker. I mean, it looked like a kick, not a punch.
Yeah, I think it was a kick. That old man can kick. Not sure how Chozen would face against Kreese after that fight with Johnny. Not Kreese, I mean Silver. I don't know. And I think it's, again, styles make fights. And I don't know if I think Chozen will do better against Terry than Daniel or Johnny will, just simply for some of the emotional aspects, because Chozen can kind of keep his emotions out of it. I don't think Terry's going to fuck with Chozen's mind. He's much more with the Seinfeld thing. He's the master of his domain a little bit more than Johnny and Daniel are. Just in general, from what we've seen of Chozen now in his training sessions. But your point, you're right. We see that, but I guess I feel, and we'll see more next season, that Chozen was completely holding back in most of that fight with Daniel and just testing what he knows more than giving an honest competition between the two of them on where their skill set is right now. But I'll take that they're relatively even matched, that Chozen just knows more techniques.
No, if they were doing if they were doing a fight to the death at that point, now Danny would have had his fucking shit handed to him.
Yeah, I tend to think so too. Not partially because of the skill set and using the techniques more often, where Daniel took 10 years since Miyagi's been dead off of karate.
Yeah, and only to teach his daughter, and then
she
they
quit.
Stopped and then she quit. Right, so. And everything was like dusty, and the whole place was in shambles, kind of. Like he had let it go. He hadn't been over there in so long. No, he hadn't been keeping with it, whereas Chozen was still running a school.
Exactly. No Kreese. I mean, yeah, I know. Oh gosh, sorry, the chat's going through. I think Tori will reveal the cheating. I think she will too. I think that's what we get at the end. I think she'll reveal it to Sam and go, Sam, you really beat me. I want a rematch. Like, she's gonna want to feel like she really can beat Sam, or she'll give the trophy to Sam next season. Sam won though. No one cares about the state of Kreese has invested on Cobra Kai. So Cobra Kai had to get the win, but they really did, as we know, Silver bribe the officials. This keeps the narrative going. Yeah, where do you go if Cobra Kai loses? The only place you can go if Cobra Kai loses is Miguel in his victory, or is Miguel winning, and you get the comeback story, and then Miguel at the end being like, I need to go get my father, and then you have like the whole crew get into some sort of cartel battle. It gets cheesy. There's not much else you can go. If Cobra Kai loses, this is a perfect series finale of the series. You're right. If we don't get 2 more seasons of what I think they still have stuff to do on this show, as shown with Chozen showing up, people want to see Mike Barnes. The way this show does it, people want to see Julie Pierce show up as well, and I think Kumiko show back up maybe too, and other characters make appearances. Hopefully Allie Mills come back too at some point. When Amanda LaRusso gets hit by a dump truck and Daniel needs a new wife, they bring Allie back or something like that.
Snap.
No, I love Amanda LaRusso. But yeah, basically I think you're right. Absolutely, Brendan. They really didn't have anywhere else to do if Cobra Kai needed to win this season.
Yep.
It sets
I feel
it up,
like I should have seen that.
It sets it up for more fun going through. Joe, how would you feel if I said Phil can kick? He's seen me try, so he.
Yeah.
See,
I'd laugh at you a little bit.
Yeah, you go, oh sure, Phil. I love how
I have seen him deliver a flying jump kick to someone.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. The infamous one-on-one basketball match. I did one of the most dick moves ever. I was playing this kid in basketball, and everybody. There was one moment in basketball earlier where I was thinking about you and me playing in a moment in Cobra Kai. Oh yeah, when the kid Kenny comes into school and he just starts blocking little LaRusso. Yeah. I was like, that was like Joe and I playing basketball. Like every time I try to shoot, Joe blocks me. So I'm not like that with everybody. There's certain people I can sort of get my cheesy bad shot off over. But I was playing this kid that was even taller than Joe and probably more of a natural defender. And he was just closing in on every one of my shots I tried to shoot. He just blocked everything in my face. And at the same time, Joe was like, "Come on, Phil, we gotta go. We get a 6-pack of beer or something. I forget what we were gonna get. Something." He's like, "Go get in the car. You gotta go. You gotta go." And I wasn't winning the basketball game, and I believe, if I remember, I threw the ball off the kid's head or something.
Yeah, and then ran at him and jump kicked him.
And then jump kicked him, and then ran to the car and
like double jump kicked him. It was very strange.
It was like the Robbie Miyagi double jump kick. It was awful. I was horrible. I said I was sorry one day. When he was trying to kill me. Brandon, yes, exactly what I was thinking. Is there going to be a 5th season? Absolutely, BM. There will 1,000% be a 5th season. They already wrapped filming, so we may even get season 5 this year. There's no official word. We might be back here next year at the same time, doing the same thing on New Year's Eve again next year. But as far as the rumors are, we might get it in the summertime, and then season 6 next year at this time to close things out. That's the rumor, because season 5 is done, wrapped, so they just need to do the editing together. So I can imagine that we might get it in the summertime, which would be fucking awesome. And if we do that, Joe, since it'll be the summer and not on a holiday and stuff, maybe we can actually change this up and do a live watch.
4th of July, they'll have it out for 4th of July. So
then we won't do
July
that.
Rumble.
Yeah, that'd be great. Okay, that's the. And what did I say? Just in the end, Miguel wrote a note when they get back to the LaRusso home. Miguel wrote a note. He went to go find his father. And when we get back to the LaRusso house, there's like a negative vibe. But then he goes to Miyagi's grave, and they wake it up, and they turn around to see Chozen in there. And that's the end of the final episode of Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai. That's been up since 3 a.m. throat. Cobra Kai. And that is that. If Barnes comes back, will he be a friend or foe? Foe. 100% foe. But absolutely, I could see them doing something like coming out on 4th of July and sticking to sort of a holiday schedule of some sort.
Yeah.
If Barnes comes back, he'll be a foe. He'll be on Terry's side. I think if he'll be even more excited, and I don't know if they're going to, speaking of contracts or something, I don't know if Terry's going to do a similar thing where he offers a percentage of all these dojos that he's opening to Mike Barnes. I think we're going to learn over.
He's going to need more instructors.
Yeah, he's going to need another, and he's going to need a partner too. Like he wants somebody on the ground that is invested in destroying LaRusso as much as he is. Because at this point, just because Terry won doesn't mean he's going to stop. This is where the real pain's going to start, Danny boy. My throat feels the same way. It's just one of those days. Yes, Miyagi Stoneheart is fucking confirmed. But I don't know. Oh, we got 2 voicemails to play before we call. This is from our good buddy Jay. Let's hopefully our audio is working here. Let's see what Jay has to say today. Oh fuck. My audio is fucked up. Let's see if I can fix it to make the call work. Sorry, Jay. I'm having some audio issues today with the telephone line and the video.
Technical difficulty.
Oh yeah, see here. That's what it's sounding like when I'm trying to play your message. So let me see if I can play this.
I mean, to be fair, Sam should be able to do that stuff. She's been doing it since she was a kid.
There you go.
I forgot what else I was gonna say. I'll call back.
Sorry about that horrible audio for a second, but you're right, Joe. I think I fixed it. So let's listen to Jay's other message.
Hey, do you think that Terry and Kreese's fallout actually sets up next season? So it's like the Daniel and Eagle Fane students are actually learning from Terry too, and like it's like the 3 of their dojos, because Terry starts up something else or something like that, or Kreese starts up like a new dojo, because I'm not sure which one of them is actually going to be able to get the Cobra Kai thing. Like one of them starts up a new one, and then we have like 4 dojos like next season in the tournament. All right, later.
I don't think, this is just my impression. I think that I don't see Kreese in a lot of next season. I feel like we might see him a little bit, almost like we saw Tori in the last season. I don't know if Martin Kove is doing something else or they just reached a point with the character. It makes more sense, but this is just my impression. I think we're supposed to think at the end of this season with Terry that Kreese is going to be out of the picture for a while. Whether he comes back for season 6, I could see him coming back.
Well, if they do it like that,
but I don't think Kreese is going to be in the next season.
It feels a little bit too much like rehashing season 1-2 moments when, Kreese shows up and Johnny reluctantly lets him back in and Kreese takes over. Like, been there, done that. With Kreese coming back and being all like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and then like Johnny has to put his foot down and kind of gets rid of Kreese again, and then Kreese comes back again.
Does Daniel? I'm going to be very interested to see next season how Daniel responds because Johnny's going to be away for a big part of next season. I think the Johnny in Miguel season, the Miguel arc is going to be away from the local area. I think. This is just my sense that most of next season will be dealing with Miguel's father stuff with Johnny and Miguel's storyline. They're going to be on their own a lot. That's why they spent reasonable amount of time away from each other this season. I do think they'll come back towards the end, but I think the first half of the season I don't think it's just going to be one episode. I think it's probably
No. This is what I see happening. I don't think it's going to be anybody in particular, the missing dad. I think just when Johnny gets down there or finally meets up with him, kid's going to be like, "Oh my God, my dad's an actual piece of shit loser." Right. And Johnny's going to be there to be like, "Don't worry, kid. I'm your daddy."
Do you think he's going to be, I think that I agree. I think the outcome of it all is going to be them bonding in that father-son kind of way. Does Robbie come with Johnny to help to find Miguel? Because of now that Robbie and Johnny have become closer at the end of the season, when Johnny goes to Mexico to find Miguel, does he bring Robbie because Robbie
helps with the big fight down in Mexico?
Exactly, because Robbie wants to make amends for what he did to Miguel.
It's a chance for a road trip, and then for them to mend their problems.
And then Robbie and Miguel to mend their problems after the fact too. It solves that whole problem for Johnny, so he can have his two sons be close.
It seems a little bit too
perfect.
Clean.
Yeah, a little too perfect. Yeah, it does almost in the same way of like Johnny and Daniel looking for Robbie together, and it ended in them getting into a fight because it didn't work out. And this show's not often clean. And now that we have 4 seasons of this show, and especially this year, we now know their MO a little bit more. And you're right, it's a little too clean. It is. It's definitely clean. So we're not going to go through any more of the details. I have a million other little points and little things we could talk about this season, but we'll get into it more on our next big Sunday Night Live thing. We'll dedicate a part of that to Cobra Kai. I might also do some other videos, a shorter pre-recorded video reviewing the season and some theories going into season 5 kind of stuff. And this won't be the last time this year we talk about Cobra Kai, even if we don't get more episodes. And we will get Joe. I'll get Joe back on the show hopefully next week. Not like 2 days from now Sunday. The following Sunday after the whole holiday hullabaloo, and we can get back to our Sunday schedule because that's probably the best day for you still. Sundays or Saturdays are essentially the best day for you. Okay. And maybe in the next season of Cobra Kai, I can, if it's nicer out and not on a holiday or something like that, I can entice you and the Crow as well, if she wants, to come by here and we can do this 5.5 hour binge in the room with drinks and cameras. Oh, yeah. I was thinking about it this time, but with the holidays and everything going on right now, it's probably just better to do this distance learning. But maybe by the summertime, when we're back into things, we can think about maybe doing the next season of this as a live watch instead of doing an immediate reaction show about it, which would be cool too. And I can always have the mirror in the room and see how that works and see if that situation goes.
Yeah. But no, Brendan. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, please.
I was gonna say Kreese appeals to them to the two good guys to to go appeal to Stingray.
Oh, and that was my question. Thank you for bringing up that point, Brandon and Joe, as well, because that was what I was going to say a second ago. I want to see how Daniel reacts to Kreese being fucked over by Terry, and if he goes to Kreese and says the enemy is my friend, blah 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 blah, and somehow somehow they realize together and I don't want to see them redo stuff that they've done with Johnny, and I don't think Kreese and Daniel will ever be friends, but I wonder if he will help in that situation because Terry is the real evil here, and in a warped way of, like you were saying, like he'll go to ask John Lawrence and Daniel LaRusso. They'll tell you that I didn't beat Stingray up, or that I kicked him out. I never saw him again, or somebody, he's going to try to, Kreese is not going to go quietly into that night. I guess that's what I'm saying.
And we already kind of set it up with Danny's mom there, who, you got to give him a chance.
Yep. I was actually surprised she didn't end up freaking out that Johnny was at the situation. Like, fuck you, Johnny. We didn't have a Daniel's mom yelling at Johnny. Shame on you and what you did to my boy years ago, kind of moment.
Yeah.
No, Phil. This will be the last time. This will. That's true. Merle just How I Met Your Mother lawyered me. I said we will be back this year to talk about Cobra Kai. We won't be back this year to talk about Cobra Kai. That's true. Next year. Yeah, I did say this year though, so I was lawyered, and I meant it too, Crow, because in my mind, I'm thinking that because I did stay up all night last night, and thank you. I did stay up all night last night. So and last year we did this on New Year's Day, not New Year's, because they released it on New Year's Eve, not the day before New Year. They released it on New Year's Day, not New Year's Eve. So we did this. So I feel like my body feels like I went through New Year's Eve last night. So I already feel in my mind we're in 2023. And
there you go. Good save.
Good save. So that's why, Merrill, but you're right.
Nope, still lawyered.
I did. I see only a couple of episodes devoted to Johnny in Mexico, like Daniel in Okinawa. It might be. I tend to feel like it's going to be the beginning half of the season, like we saw with the Johnny and Daniel training stuff this year, that the first half of next year is going to be dedicated to the whole Miguel and Johnny in Mexico thing. But I could be wrong. I could absolutely be wrong. It could just be something simple like that. I just somehow I feel like, for me, this has been a story that's been built up since season 1 that they need a bigger payoff for, about who Miguel's father is. Not that it's someone that we know. I don't think it's Mike Barnes or anything. I just think it's some shady fucking... that was the other last question. When he says it's a bad man, do you think... And this is the question. This is kind of what I'm saying, I guess. Is Miguel's father going to be, Miguel goes down there and sees he's a shit bum and ends up connecting with Johnny because Johnny's, actually cares about him, and he's just a bad guy, like a scummy fucking user kind of type, or is he dangerous? Is he work for a cartel? Is he a drug dealer?
All of the above.
You think all the above? Yeah, me too. I think he is, but I think he's very dangerous. I think he's involved with some dangerous people, and there's like Johnny and Miguel get into some shit when they're down there, and that's why I think it might last longer. But Brandon, you could be 100%. You could be 100% correct as well, and it could just be an episode and a half, 2 episode sort of trip where he goes down there, learns very quickly that his father's a shit bum, doesn't even want to introduce him. They get into some trouble, and I do think Robbie's going to go, or Robbie's going to know, and
yeah.
I don't know.
Definitely no more than 3 episodes, most likely.
And 1 or 2 more questions here. Will Robbie or Tori join Eagle Fang or Miyagi-Do again? I do think Robbie ends the story at some point with being a Miyagi Fang. Like accepting both. I think him and Daniel repair their relationship and he trains with Miyagi again, if that's your question. I don't think he's ever fully in either pocket at all. And if he is, it's going to be Eagle Fang because of Johnny. Because I think, to Joe's point, it's a TV show, so it's not real life. But we can only build on real life relationships. This is the starting point between him and Johnny. And yes, it will be repaired a lot through a year, through the off season and through everything. And it's going to be a lot better next time than it ever was before. But this show definitely shows you, like with Johnny, they show you him trying to be a father to Miguel and it fucking all up. They show him like accepting Daniel and constantly screwing it up. They don't just like, oh, he can figure shit out and he's good. So they're going to show him fucking things up with Robbie again. I did listen to your messages, Jay. So scale back a little bit. We did, but don't scale back too much. Don't rewind too much because there's some horrible audio interference in there too because my audio's messed up. But I did play your messages. Not dangerous, but an asshole. Okay. And Brandon says, will Robbie and Tori join? So Tori, I don't know. I don't think Tori is. I see Tori sticking with Cobra Kai, even though she's pissed at this cheating, because you think she quits.
No, here's the thing. If she comes out and says it looks better for her going against her aunt, that she's the state
right, and she's because Cobra Kai on paper, from whether it be with their. Terry is a good person, and on paper they are sorry, I'm distracted by this stupidity. Sorry, it's too stupid. I can't look at it. But yes, I agree. I think it shows stronger. And I think Terry also having Terry in her corner through that is going to serve to be, because we're all expecting that she's going to be pissed about being the bribe situation. She might be pissed about that through Sam's case, but she also might view Terry as someone that can get anything done and that she could use to help her through her situation with her aunt. And I think there might be some element of that. Again, if we're doing a Star Wars thing, Padme, I can help you with Padme. Like, he's going to help her through with the aunt situation, and that might stick her to Cobra Kai for a while. So I don't see Tori leaving Cobra Kai. Maybe by the end of the series. I don't think she'll ever be a Miyagi-Do, but maybe an Eagle Fang. I don't think she's ever a Miyagi-Do because I do see her and Sam becoming friendly next season.
Yeah.
When she returns the trophy, gives Sam the trophy and goes, I don't deserve this. You won, LaRusso. This was cheated. You're just better than me. No matter how hard I train, you beat me every fucking time, LaRusso. It's because you're a bitch. No, really, help me. And then it ends up they become friendly in a Daniel and Johnny season 1, 2, and 3 kind of vibe. So everybody, thank you so much for joining us this morning for Joe and I's all night situation. As I said, next time on one of these.
Oh, okay. And you know how season 5 ends? I know how season 5 ends.
Okay, let's finish things up with some more predictions. What other?
Nope, because it goes along that whole line that you were just talking about with the two girls, right?
Yep. And tell me how season 5 ends.
And they never go at it again. We don't see them fight again the entire season, right? Because they become friends. And then at the end, we get the Rocky. Oh, where they're like friends and they're just by themselves and only they're gonna know.
Yeah. Oh, I feel like we're gonna get that Rocky 3 kind of fight with Johnny and Daniel too.
Right. Well, we got that same kind of knockout. Like
the double
freeze frame where they both punch each other. Did
you think it was a cheesy? Do you think it was a cop out conclusion to have them knock each other out in the point?
No, I liked it.
I liked it too. And
I thought it was fucking hilarious.
Fernando says, Tori, a street thug. I love her. She's a freak of the sheets. I love that scene when they were at the prom. And Fernandez T, sorry, I know we have to keep it wholesome, I think. This is the Issues program. You don't have to keep it wholesome here. You definitely do not. I expect you not to keep it wholesome in the live motherfucking chat. How old is what's the actress's name that plays Tori? Tori on Cobra Kai. But no, Cobra Kai actress. I'm blanking on her name, but Tori Nichols is played by Peyton something is her name. But anyways. But yeah, no, you don't have to keep it fucking.
Oh yeah, Chozen is what unites them, and Chozen's gonna come up with the name.
Yeah, you don't have to. Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be like they're a new tribe in Survivor, and they name it before. But yeah, you don't have to.
Chozen is gonna recognize what Cobra Kai actually is, and tell them what style.
Yeah, you learned this from. We know it's something out of it's Korean-based karate, I believe, or something like that, or that's who the master was initially. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a great Friday. Also to the chat, Happy New Year. Fernandez C, thank you so much for that super chat donation and all the super chats this year, buddy. It's so appreciated, more than you know, for myself and the help you give all the people here. The love that you show. No, but it means a lot, buddy. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to talking to you next year. Have a great night. Brandon says, did you guys catch the moment Miyagi said, Miyagi Fang, maybe both dojos will unite? I would love something like that. Peyton List. Thank you, Brandon. I knew it was Peyton something. But yes, no, her and Robbie both looked very, very smart in their prom outfits, all decked out with Terry Silver, and I actually really enjoyed that scene with her and Robbie. And that's the one. I keep saying one last thing, but I keep remembering things I want to say. Whereas a lesser show sticks Robbie and Tori together as another couple. Instead, they were just people that were hanging out and went to the prom together because almost dared each other to go to the prom. And then at the end of it, they're like, why waste the car? And they just hooked up. They didn't end the season as a couple and they're like dating and they're in love. They were like two people that generally have a good vibe with each other, and they have a shared understanding, and then they just decided to hook up, and it wasn't sort of like a big, like, weighty romance that equaled out the Miguel and thing. It was almost funny how little they cared, and they got off on the fact that the other two were all hot and bothered by it. And I thought that was an interesting take on that, instead of just making it so like, okay, now we're gonna put Robbie and Tori together as a couple. Like, let's ship those two. And they fucked and they hung out or whatever, but it was more of just a hookup. At the end of the season, they weren't like kissing goodbye and like, I love you now. And it was like, no, good job for winning. Hey, and they're smiling at each other in that way you do with someone you just hooked up with, and you have like kind of like
the best way to piss them off even further is to fuck right now.
Yep. And Merle says you're thinking of Tong Soo-do. Tong Soo-do. I said do because I'm an idiot. But yeah, and thank you so much, Brandon. And we understand that most people that check this out live, even if you popped in for a second, or we didn't expect to have anybody that would have binge watched this with us. So we appreciate the few folks that are popping on in that actually have finished the season at this point or know the conclusion of the season and shared your thoughts in the chat this morning, as I tried to say. Joe, I know I told you I kept you here for an hour, but I'm pretty sure we're probably over 2 hours at this point, or pushing it.
Are we? No way.
No, what are we at? Oh, it doesn't matter. We'll see. We'll see at the end. It's probably getting close, I'm guessing. But I was like, 2 hours, probably like 2 hours and 10 minutes or some shit like that. 220 or so. So I promised you an hour, but we ended up a little bit longer. But everyone, thank you so much for tuning into this silly stream, Cobra Kai stream. We'll be back next year to talk more Cobra Kai and talk more podcasts. Everyone have a very, very happy New Year.
It's good because I was about to be wet, dude. Piss.
How many pisses did you have during your watch?
None. I still.
You held it.
One afterwards, but I'm about to go full Johnny Lawrence.
Dude, I'm an old man. I think I had this shows the state of our body. We're just almost 50-year-olds.
I'm already wet. No, me too.
Yeah, dude. I had 3 breaks. Those were my breaks the whole time. Love you guys. We'll talk to you next time. Peace. We're good.
No,